All right, let's see. Did that do it? Let me pull up my chat. Can you see and hear me right now? Let me know. 555. Thank you, Claire Burr. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Welcome back to beautiful western Wyoming here. And welcome to a live dinosaur dig here on Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and it is my privilege today to be able to share some paleontological fieldwork with all of you at home. How cool is that? You get to watch us dig up a dinosaur and contend with all of the bugs and the wind and the sun and everything else from the comfort of wherever you happen to be right now. Hopefully someplace more comfortable than this, although we really can't complain. It's been a beautiful day so far. I'm really glad you're here. We're here in the late Cretaceous Almond Formation. Rock's about 73 million years old. And we've got what we are pretty certain is a new species of duckbill dinosaur that we're digging up. And when I say we've got a larger crew today. We have some reinforcements who have arrived from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you're going to get a chance to meet them in just a minute here. But we're still kind of waiting for people to trickle in. And Millhouse316, hey Millhouse, thank you for being here. It's great to have you here. Hello. Pursue, Claire Burr, Stadler and Waldorf, Ms. Drop Bear. And extra hands today at Purple Puzzle. Yes, indeed, Claire Burr, yeah. This might be my last day here for a while. We'll see. But we're back at our hadrosaur site. I've been kind of in charge of the site for the last few days. But now that reinforcements have arrived, I can move on to some other sites. So we'll see if we can check in on the Ceratopsian site, check in on this new Ankylosaur site, which is yielding all kinds of really cool armor plates and other bones too. I guess they found the bone layer there, so yeah, they're in business. This is it's super exciting. So yeah, and apart from having a bunch of cool people here today, I also finally remembered to bring this with me. We've got our visual aids here, so I can kind of walk you through that real quick. Or maybe we'll do that in a little bit, because we've got only 80 people here so far. Casey Snowart, how are you doing? Vexy, hello. Many hands make light work, as long as no one ducks the responsibility, yeah, or gets stuck with. Good to have you here. Fanny Cranny, hello. Ash Odinson says it does sound like it's going to be an exciting summer. I think so, yeah. This is my third year digging in the Almond Formation with Ethan Cowgill and the crew, and it seems like it gets better every year, you know? Pretty happy about that. Last year, some of you had the opportunity to meet Matt Lamanna, the curator of the Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's here in the quarry with us today, along with some other Pittsburghers who have arrived. So pretty excited about that. It's great to catch up with old friends and have that sense of camaraderie that comes with being with your people, you know. So pretty happy. Yeah. Fumling says, "Hey Danny Soar, how you doing, Fumling?" Hello. Raziel Ball, very funny. Good to see you. Yeah, and Millhouse says this is so good. Yeah, should be a lot of fun. Let's go wander down there. And I gave up my spot in the quarry earlier, so some other folks can dig there. I am going to be mostly just walking around and streaming for the next few hours. I don't know if I'm actually going to be doing any digging on camera, but we've got more than enough help in the quarry now, so I don't feel bad about that at all. Oh, by the way, this is how we can broadcast from remote wild Wyoming. Got a satellite dish right there, solar panel, solar battery. That's how all this is possible. I just submitted my abstract to the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology for the annual meeting this November. It's going to be in Birmingham, UK, and that abstract is about streaming live from the field. I think more paleontologists should be doing this kind of thing. It's not that difficult. You know, it's not rocket surgery. If I can figure it out, a lot of other paleontologists can do this too. I'd love to see more live outreach from the field whenever possible. So, yeah. Anywho, and let's see. Who is that there? I'm new here, and this is so awesome. Thank you, Chaotic X Coop. I appreciate that. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Let's go say hi to the rest of the crew. Again, this is at the Purple Puzzle Hadrosaur site. we've got what we think is a new kind of duckbill dinosaur here. So we're pretty excited about that. Yeah, here we go. Man, just teeming with people today. This is awesome, having so many folks in the quarry. It's just been, yeah.
Hello, streamers.
Yeah. Matt Lamano from last year?
Hey, chat.
He was in the chat the other day. He was one of you, and now he's here, you know?
It can happen to you too.
Matt, what's your, introduce yourself real quick. What's your official title?
Sure. My name's Matt Lamana. I guess technically Dr. Matt Lamana. I'm the short way to say it is I'm a dinosaur paleontologist at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Pittsburgh. I can do my whole title if you want, but it's
maybe
long.
next time. Yeah. We'll save something for the next broadcast.
Yeah. Buckle up.
Every day the title will get long.
Yeah.
Yep. We've got Nick here. We'll kind of go clockwise, I guess. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. So Nick also from Pittsburgh. Am I the only person here not from Pennsylvania?
Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
You're outnumbered this time.
And Mandy's honorary. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody remembers Nick from yesterday?
Hi. Yeah, do I reintroduce myself?
If you want to,
okay,
yeah,
well,
go for it.
Nicholas Hornchak. I am a volunteer at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, and I'm a master's student at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, or IUP for short.
Nice. Cool. And Eric?
I'm Eric Vizzelli, a master's student from IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania as well. And hopefully I'll be starting to volunteer at the Carnegie.
Ooh, nice. You were talking to Matt about that? Excellent. Yeah. Cool. And we got Jake here.
Hi, I'm Jake Stokes. I'm also a graduate student at IUP, and I work at the Carnegie Museum.
Nice.
There are a lot of Carnegie people here. From Pittsburgh.
Are you a descendant of, was it William Lee Stokes?
No, there's Lee Stokes, there's George Stokes, who did like fluid dynamics. There's a unit of fluid viscosity called the Stokes, apparently.
There's a dinosaur called
There's a dinosaur called
Stokesaurus.
Stoksasaurus.
Yeah, which is one of the earliest tyrannosauroids
Yeah, it's
ever
from
found.
the Morrison Formation. They find them, I think, at least in Cleveland Lloyd.
Yeah.
They're like a very early Jurassic tyrannosaur.
Yeah.
No affiliation, though, but, you know.
No affiliation with tyrannosaurs here.
No, I'm not related to the Stokesasaurus, although I wish they were sometimes.
But Jake here's a sauropod guy. So if you've got sauropod for the past few nights, I've just been incessantly peppering him with questions.
Oh yeah,
So you should do the same, Chad.
Sauropods, yeah. Let them on me. Chad.
What's the phrase? God's perfect creatures?
Matt Weddle calls them God's perfect creation.
I thought that was the horseshoe crab.
Well,
It's a tie.
they're less majestic, I think. Sauropods, I mean, than the horseshoe crab, the noble horseshoe crab.
Yeah. Then we got Lauren here. Yeah.
Hi, Lauren Gailey. I am a lawyer and a law professor. Obviously not a paleontologist, but I am a patron of paleontology.
Yeah,
so.
she's the reason many of us are here right now. So thank you, Lauren, for your support.
Everyone
Yes.
say
It is
thank
true.
you,
I'm
Lauren.
not great with sauropod questions, but I do know a lot about the First Amendment.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
If anyone needs any legal
All right, we
advice,
might need that. It's going to come in handy.
Yeah. And then we got Mandy over here, our resident paleobotanist. Let's see. Let me try not to fall over.
All the way around the corner to get over here.
There we go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, my name's Mandy, and I work in the education department at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History in my day job, working with our field trip programs. But I am a paleo enthusiast and someone who studied paleobotany in grad school, and so it's really fun to be up doing field work again.
It's great to have you back.
Yeah.
Something good.
And Mandy was looking at the fossil leaves that we saw yesterday. And,
Not enough to identify, but enough to know for sure it is a fossil leaf. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, we had leaves here in the Cretaceous, which is that's good to confirm. Yeah.
That's exciting.
So yeah. Let me see if we got any
I can
questions
tell
in
you
the
if you
chat.
don't want to be surprised, but
Yeah.
it's going to be dope.
We're getting a lot of thank you, Laurens, in the chat.
You're welcome.
So I've always been told that lawyers are afraid of dinosaurs because of Jurassic Park, and that's
I think this was Gennaro. I think this was
nice. It's been Jurassic Park quotes left and right today and yesterday, as many of you witnessed. But yeah. Anyway, so this is more of our hadrosaur site. We've got many hands making light work over here. And do we have any new bones yet? I don't know if we do yet today.
I found a match.
Oh, nice. Got 2 pieces to click?
We
Yeah.
have no idea what it is.
No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just trickling out.
Uh-huh.
Nothing yet down here, but maybe, I don't know what this is yet.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Nice.
But look at this lovely fall that it just
Yeah.
falling down.
Oh, and there's Ethan calling me. Hang on a second. Here. Let's see. Hey, Ethan, I got you on speaker, and I'm streaming now, too.
Sweet, how's it going?
It's going well. You want to say hi to chat?
Hey, chat.
Cool. How are you doing?
Great. I'm just curious, how's it going over there?
It's going pretty well. Yeah, we've got places for everybody to dig. Nick found what could be another site just across the ridge. So there's bone in situ over there, and
All right.
yeah, morale is high. We're continuing to try and expand the quarry out laterally. Things are good.
Right on.
Yeah.
We found more bones at the Excavating site.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Anything identifiable?
Osteoderms and another weird thing.
A weird thing. I like the sound of that.
Yeah,
Nice.
and Fisher found part of a Melvius skull.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are going good.
Excellent. Glad to hear. Autopsy site.
I just dropped some Red Bull off to them. They're making a heck of a dent, it looks like.
Nice. Excellent. Good to hear.
Well, I'll leave.
Yeah. About what time do you think we should head back to camp today?
Maybe leave at 5?
Okay. Yeah. That sounds good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I'll see you soon. Bye. All right, that was our expedition lead, Ethan Cowgill, right there. This whole project was his brainchild about 5 years ago now, and it has been quite successful. Yeah. So he was saying that at the Ankylosaur site, they've got, I hope you could hear him. I had the volume as high up as it could go. But at the Ankylosaur site, the armored dinosaur site, that's like, we don't know if it's an ankylosaurid or a nodosaurid yet, but it's one of these armored dinosaurs. Should look a little like this. There's a nice skeletal diagram. Copyright Scott Hartman there, skeletaldrawing.com. Yeah, so one of these armored dinosaurs. We don't know if it's one of the guys with the club at the end of the tail or one that looks like this, a nodosaurid. But really exciting. They found more bones. They've got more osteoderms. That site's really turning into something. And if they've got enough osteoderms, we'll be able to name that thing, which is really exciting. And then he also said that at the Turtle Hill site that Fisher is leading, my son, Fisher, he's got Melvius skull bones. More Melvius. Melvius is this huge bowfin fish that existed during the Cretaceous, and there are similar bowfins that exist today. They're a really cool group. They go back way into the Mesozoic, into the age of dinosaurs. But this is a fish like, I don't know, they could get 6, maybe 8 feet long, something like that, maybe approaching 2 or 3 meters. Yeah, big predatory fish. They're really cool. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting. So things are going well all over the place. Bexy says another dig site. Yeah, I'll be at one of the other sites tomorrow, I think. Probably the Ankylosaur site. But currently today we've got 4 sites running simultaneously. We've got this one with our duckbill dinosaur. The purple puzzle site is what we call it. We've got the ceratopsian site with a horned dinosaur, a ceratopsian, who's going to look something like... hang on. Something like this. Yeah, horned dinosaur, kind of like Triceratops. Potentially the ancestor of Triceratops, who knows? And then we've got Turtle Hill, which is like this beautiful sample platter of all these different critters that existed at this time. So there's fishes, there's bits of turtles, as the name would imply. There's bits of crocodilian and lizard, it seems like, and maybe even a few chunks of dinosaur bone there, too. So that's like a really nice, sample box. You open it up and it's like, one of the different critters that lived in this environment. Turtle Hill is the site for that. So, yeah. Anywho, we'll be visiting some of those other sites, I think, maybe starting tomorrow. Today, again, I was kind of in charge of this site yesterday, and now that we've got reinforcements that have arrived, I can kind of pass the baton to them. Matt Lamont has been digging dinosaurs for a long time, so he really knows what he's doing, and so he's going to be taking over here. But yeah, And do we have a pressed penny fan in the chat? Mooncloud says, youngest had a field trip to the zoo yesterday. They had a dinosaur exhibit. Very cool. My wife went as a chaperone, and they got one of those flattened pennies with the T-Rex on it. Excellent. I happen to collect those pressed pennies, too. That's I got probably a dozen of them on my way out here from California. And I'm hoping to get more later in the summer at some other sites. So, yeah. Mama said life is like a sample Cretaceous box. There you go, Trek Nerd. Yes, indeed. Yeah. And Astoria says, my 2-year-old calls you the Dino Man. I'm flattered. Tell him he's pretty cool, and I'm glad he's watching. Yeah, it's such a privilege to be able to share this with everybody, you know? What a joy. Yeah. Let me go get some water, and then we'll go back down to the quarry. And if any of you have any questions for any of our illustrious paleontologists and volunteers in the quarry, let me know. I can go shove a camera in their face and put them on the spot. Birian says, I call you the Dino Man. Well, thank you, Birian. I appreciate that. Nice. Yeah. Oh, and let me give everybody a little bit of background now that I've got the visual aids. We've got our visuals. Here we go. So, this area is called, well, this rock unit that we've got here that we're digging in is called the Almond Formation in southwest Wyoming. We're kind of near the town of Green River right now. And so we've known for a long time that there were dinosaurs here. We know that because in 1938, this guy, Barnum Brown, the same guy who discovered T-Rex, he was working in this area in 1938. A whole bunch of different dinosaurs. He also almost died out here during a thunderstorm. It's a really harrowing story at another time. But Barnum Brown came out here, found a bunch of dinosaurs, and never named any of them. I don't think he published on them either. Barnum Brown was much more of a field guy than he was like a let's sit in the lab and describe new species kind of guy. But yeah. So we know the stuff was out here, and then there were other crews that came out to the Almond Formation in like the early 2000s, 2010s. And they didn't find anything. They did encounter a lot of bad weather, though, like Barnum Brown did. I don't think any of them nearly died, but yeah, they didn't really find many fossils. Ethan Cowgill, who was on the phone, he decided, well, shoot, if I want to start a field program, he lives in Salt Lake City, then he said, well, let me look through the literature and just see if I get inspired. He heard about the Almond Formation, he looked into it, and he said, I'm going to try there. So he went out, I think, with a couple of his siblings and maybe with some friends, and they went out and prospected and started finding dinosaurs. So he gathered some folks together and got some funding. He asked me to join, and yeah, I've been out here 3 years now digging up dinosaurs, and the cool thing is just about every dinosaur you find here is going to be a new species just because there are no dinosaurs that are named from the Almond Formation. And that's partly because of because of time. So we're here about 73 million years ago in the late Cretaceous period, so toward the very end of the age of dinosaurs. And there are not very many dinosaurs named from this exact time. So dinosaurs evolve pretty quickly, they're always changing, they don't stay the same, and so if you find a new rock layers, from a different time, chances are there's going to be new dinosaurs in it, and that's what we seem to be seeing here too. Yeah, and what does this environment represent? Let me show you. A lot can happen in 73 million years. 73 million years ago, the Almond Formation, first of all, these hills in this valley did not exist like this. We're now at 1,000 feet like that 73 million years ago. This was the shore of here. This was all at sea level. This would have been a a big deltaic environment. So like, think of a massive floodplain. Think kind of like modern day Louisiana, like the Louisiana Bayou. Or maybe even like the Florida Everglades or something vaguely similar to that. A little more terrestrial than the Everglades, but, you know, lowland, very wet, kind of swampy, lots of different critters walking around, swimming around, flying around. So this is North America, about 73 million years ago, give or take. And that red represents the state of Wyoming. So we are here in southwest Wyoming, right on the margins of this ancient seaway. And yeah, as a result, we see the fossil remains of organisms that lived here. There are no crocodiles today living in Wyoming, and yet there were crocodilians, or crocodiliforms at least, crocs for short, living in this environment doing their thing. There were palm trees, there were you know, lots of salamanders and lizards and predatory fishes and all kinds of stuff swimming around in the waters. And on land you had dinosaurs, tyrannosaurs, ankylosaurs, the armored dinosaurs, ceratopsians, our horned dinosaurs, and of course we've got our beloved hadrosaurs here, these guys. This is pretty similar to the critter that we're digging up, but we have every reason to believe that this is a new species that we've got here. This is about what they might look like in life, kind of like this. Here's two of them side by side. Yeah, so great big animals, plant eating, walking around on land, but they'd probably go for a swim every once in a while too. That's the kind of critter that we're digging up here. And that's actually a pretty good representation of what this environment might have been like. Very flat at the time, you know, kind of a big floodplain. You had all kinds of different trees growing here. We don't have trees growing here now, as you can see. It's far too dry, very harsh environment. It was much more hospitable back then, almost subtropical, I betcha. But yeah. And not only are we digging up the dinosaurs here, but we're also collecting any bit of data that we can on what this ancient environment was like, which includes fossil plants, invertebrates, just whatever. We're interested in all of it because it helps us, you know, this ecosystem was all about back then. Yeah. Good stuff. And and Dr. Terminator, I've not seen that new Cedar Mountain Formation paper. Multiple unidentified allosaurids from the early Cretaceous Cedar Mountain Formation. We've got bits of them. We'll talk about this later in the summer, in July and August, because I'm going to be digging in the Cedar Mountain. But yeah, we've got teeth and we've got skull bones of allosauroid theropods from our quarry. Hopefully we'll find more this year. So yeah, we know they're there. It's good to see that claim has been published, though. However, yeah. Paleontologist VA says, "How is Matt doing? Is he with you?" He is. We'll go see him in a few minutes. Yeah. And Moxie Drinker, same site today with new people. Yeah. So yeah. And Melania Obama says, "Could a landscape be hilly then flat then hilly again through the ages?" Absolutely, yes. And that's precisely what we see here. So the rocks that we're digging in represent a kind of a wet lowland environment near the seashore. Extremely different from what we have today. Again, these hills and everything didn't exist. You see how those, look across the valley there, and you see those bands of rock that are different colors. I'm going to hold the camera as close to level as I can, so you know it's not like an optical illusion. Those seem to be kind of tilting up at an angle like that. They are. So those rocks were laid down flat during the Cretaceous period. And after this area was pushed up, you've got these mountain building events. And basically, like, this part of North America was just shunted up toward the sky. Things get tilted like that. Yeah. Again, a lot can happen in 70 plus million years. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And even here, just that idea of change through the ages, we see that here in the rocks. I mean, these didn't used to be rocks. This used to be mud and sand and silt. You know, this was the bottom of this basin here where all the sediment accumulated and then it compacted together and turned to rock, and that rock still exists today. Yeah. The hills are alive with the sounds of dinosaurs, says Mizart Rules, and that's very true. I've been hearing some swallows and I think a rock wren I heard earlier. Birds are living dinosaurs, as we always talk about here. So yeah. Yeah. Anywho. There you go, my airspace. And Charlie's Dragon says, and now the mountains are being eroded down towards flat again. It's true, yeah. Again, here on planet Earth, change is the only constant. And, yeah, you've got mountain building and erosion. It's this ongoing cycle. The mountains get pushed up, and then erosion wears them down. And we see that up here. We've got some chunks of dinosaur bone up here that we're about, I don't know, maybe a few hundred years too late in digging them up. The ground that they were in has been eroded and destroyed, and now there's just like a few chunks here and there. Let's go see them, actually. See if I can spot these. I think I see one up there. But, yeah. Jake had found these earlier, and then tried to figure out where they were coming from, tried to find the source, and it seems like the source is gone. So there's just a few chunks left. How are the gnats today? Not as bad, Atomic Mr. X, thanks for asking. They're not as bad. Otherwise, they'd probably be pretty bad. And I shared that well. We're all set there. Yeah, here, this might look like a rock, but it's not just a rock. This is a chunk of dinosaur bone. So you see the texture running along here. That is bone texture. So this is near like the surface of the bone. It might be cortical bone. And on the inside, you get this nice spongy texture. Kind of like that. There we go. See all those little holes and stuff? Those are for blood vessels and nutrients moving through the bone. So this is a pretty sizable chunk of dinosaur bone right here. It is not from a small critter. This would not be from a small theropod, baby dinosaur or something. This is from something big, probably a big duckbill dinosaur. This is probably like a chunk of femur because it's so big, it's so robust. But yeah, and you can tell it's been here for a long time because look at all the lichen growing on it right there. You don't get that with fresh bone straight out of the ground after it's eroded. This has been on the surface for a long, long time. Lichen grows extremely slowly. And so this has been on the surface for decades, maybe centuries. There's a lot of lichen on it, actually. Yeah. There's a few more pieces over here, too. So, yeah. But we are too late for this. So this would have come from uphill, and most likely, I don't know, near the top of that hill, it's probably gone. So this might be all that's left of this dinosaur. We're maybe a couple hundred years too late in digging it up. But, so it goes, you know? These rocks have been eroding like this for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years, and there's just dinosaurs constantly spilling out here and there, and sometimes we get incredibly lucky to be walking through an area, prospecting for bone, and we find it before all of it's gone, you know? So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, and Starmer says, are the pieces from the top of the hill enough to collect and study? No, we're going to leave these here, yeah. This is not diagnostic. We won't be able to identify what kind of dinosaur this is. It's not worth collecting. Yeah, so this stays here. Again, we're not souvenir hunting here. We're not collecting for kicks and giggles. We're collecting for science. So every specimen that we collect is going to go to a museum, and it's going to be in that museum hopefully long after all of us are dead. You know, it'll be there for hundreds or maybe even thousands of years into the future for new generations of paleontologists to study and for the public to enjoy. Museums have limited space and limited money. We don't want to collect every last little scrap like that of undiagnostic, scientifically worthless bone. So we're focusing on the stuff that will actually help us answer scientific questions. Like, for instance, this skeleton down here that we're digging up. Does that make sense? Yeah. There you go, Dr. Tara. Yeah. Good stuff. And very funny, Modern Meerkat. Anyway, let's go back down over here and see what the crew's up to. And again, let me know if you've got any questions for them. Sorry if I missed anything earlier. Feel free to retype it. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, it's only been a few minutes, so I don't know if we'll have anything new, but we'll poke around a little bit.
There's a
Yeah,
fit.
there's a little something.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's a fit.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. Let me double check.
Nice. Does it click?
Pretty close.
Yeah, there we go.
Got a nice shape going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I
Excellent.
wonder if that fits up to this guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. What would have a cross section like an X or a kite?
Could be like a crest on the scapula or something like that? Like that ridge that runs down the lengthwise?
Yeah.
But yeah, not many things would be shaped like that.
How fragile are sternal bones? Like the sternum,
They're not. They're pretty
Branches
robust
out,
in an animal
right.
like this. Yeah.
right? It's kind of like
As well, it should be
on
to be
the
functional,
side.
right?
Yeah.
Or we know it'd be like that. There we go.
Nice.
We'll see.
Yeah, so what Nick's doing right here is he's finding these fragments that were kind of spilling down the hill before we got here to the site, and trying to fit any pieces together that might still click. Because if we can get little fragments and fit them into into larger bones. Oh.
Oh no. Slippery for some.
That's our
Send help.
Help me!
that's our Plockman's blooper of the week. Sponsored by Plockman's Mustard.
I mustard myself.
Are we sponsored by mustard?
Yes.
No, not yet.
No,
But,
not
but-
yet.
Not yet.
But the mustard bottle here, that's
Product
Plockman's
placement.
mustard. We used to use those with Museum of the Rockies because they're like the only mustard company we know of that still uses the nozzle that like you can alter the rate of flow on it.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's the right kind of plastic too, where the glue doesn't dissolve it. The acetone doesn't eat through it.
I wish my mustard bottle let me alter the rate of flow.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You should get yourself some Plockman's mustard,
Right.
there, man.
It sounds like I should. It sounds like I should, Danny. Where can I find some Plockman's mustard?
At fine retailers near you.
Find purveyors of mustard.
Oh, we got something here too?
All
Yeah.
of this.
Oh yeah, look at that, Eric.
So this weird thing here, crest, this guy was fair.
Nice.
But slabs of stuff. Looks like there's a plant in there amongst the bone.
A plant?
Yeah.
Interesting. Hmm.
And then this is more of that ribby thing, but
Uh-huh.
it's like two of them coming together, it looks like.
Interesting. They don't come together and join up, do they? Are they just next to each other? Or do they
I
actually
think,
converge?
no, they converge.
Oh, that looks to me like. Did hadrosaur caudal chevrons do that? Do they have like a fork?
Yeah, I think proximally. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So like where the hemal canal goes through. Or
Yeah,
the hemal artery goes through. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Nice. That could very well be. One of the dangly down bones. That you've got on a duckbill dinosaur like this. One of the caudal chevrons. I know. Yeah. You want to see him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might learn something.
I doubt it, but.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a map of North America during the Cretaceous.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
superimposed.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's in the right spot.
Yeah. This is. Yeah. I would say roughly. It's probably this is probably around a 90-ish,
Probably
something like
Centimanian,
that.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Let me scoot a little bit closer too, so we get these on camera.
Where's the other side of the seaway?
What do you mean?
The
Which-
other coast.
Oh, like the east coast of it?
Yeah.
We find there are Cretaceous deposits in Minnesota,
Minnesota,
that were
okay.
that are Centimanian. So yeah, probably there.
I didn't know
Yes.
that. That's cool.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah,
all
yeah,
get
that's-
scraped clean by the glaciers?
Not quite. Yeah,
Wow,
they find
alright.
them usually in the Iron Range and the Iron.
Range.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the mining
guy.
area in northern. Yeah. I have in my office. I have casts of a few fossils. There's a little tiny. It's probably either a dromaeosaur or something similar, little tiny claw. And there's a tip of a snout of a. I want to say it's some kind of folidosaurid croc, like a Terminaneris or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And there's a few other things that might be marine reptile. But yeah, there's vertebrate
cool.
fossils from it.
Shoot.
Yeah.
So any Minnesotans in the chat, you have dinosaurs from your state. I didn't know that.
Yep.
You've risen in my esteem,
Yep,
Minnesotans.
The Coleraine Formation. If anybody's curious, there's a really cool project associated with the what is it called? Oh man, is it the something Discovery Center in the Iron Range? But
Mhm.
there's it's called the Hill Annex Paleontology Project. And it's run by a friend of mine named John Westgard, and they find really cool stuff. Well, I mean, again, it's hard-won stuff, but it's important because it's eastern shore of the Western Interior Seaway. Yeah.
Nice.
So this is Burnham Brown, I think, at Howe Quarry. Yeah.
Probably around the time that he was digging here. He looks about the right age.
Yeah, I think that's right. This I think this photo is from Howe Quarry, and I
nice,
think that's around the same time. Yeah.
Howe Quarry is in
Bighorn Basin, Wyoming. I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
also Wyoming.
Cool.
Yeah, so your classic.
Yeah, Ray Troll's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Geologic time diagram. Yeah, these are great.
I'm a little optimistic that we'll find a Tyrannosaur this year.
Yeah. No, it's a good.
Wanted to be
that would
prepared.
be wondrous to have that. Yeah, Nick just pointed down the hill.
Oh yeah. Nick actually found a new dinosaur down there today.
Well, new sites.
A new site. Well, yeah. Chances are there's nothing named from this formation, so
Looks promising.
good chance that it is something new, even if it's.
Dinosaurs 1, 2, and 3.
Yep. Gaileytown. Yep. Welcome to Gaileytown. Yeah, this is some kind of Tyrannosaurid. Is this?
I think it's Displetosaurus.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said so because I was going to guess something else. No? Nice tree of life in general. Yeah, these are great. More geologic time.
Yeah.
Ceratopsid dinosaur.
I
so
think that's
horned
supposed to be
dinosaur.
Pentaceratops
Yeah,
there,
sure.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and the animal we are preparing is probably similar to this one.
Much shorter brow horns than that.
It
though,
does. It
so
does
far.
have. Yep. It does
Yeah.
have shorter brown horns. Yep, for sure. And it may be a pretty old individual because the squamosals are
Fully
really
fused,
fully fused and really pretty hard to
Yeah.
define from the rest of the.
And the underside of the brow horn is also like hollow. It's all hollowed
Yes.
out, which is
Yeah.
also a good indicator of maturity in ceratopsids.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. That's
yeah.
cool.
In
Okay.
Triceratops, they hollow out late in
Oh,
the
that's
progeny.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Same animal here,
Yeah.
more
Any
similar.
idea why that would be?
I
Why
thi-
do those like sinuses form?
It might be for saving weight.
Weight,
potentially.
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe with bone resorption through the osteoporosis in a way, have lower bone density, so they prioritize more towards other.
Like they're rerouting it to other
Send
things.
it elsewhere.
Well, like a
actually-
medullary bone
I
kinda
wouldn't
deal?
know
Yeah.
enough about that to know.
I don't really either.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Notosaurid ankylosaur.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the chat knows that there's maybe something like that coming out of the ground at
Yeah.
a different site.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As we speak.
Yeah. Literally as we speak. Let's see. We got another sort of geologic time, and then we got ourselves a big old duck.
Yeah, I know. I see. Yeah.
Okay.
He's back. Yeah, we've got a vehicle over there.
Get him. Right. Where's a table we could flip? Get him.
I always like the concept of flipping tables in bar fights. Although I have to say I never understood what's the point. You know what I mean?
There's an instance of table flipping in the Bible.
Oh really? Oh.
Oh, was it with the money changers in the temple? Yeah.
It's
Wow.
classic for
Wow.
thousands of
You're going
years.
to be a good Christian, start flipping tables.
So we got ourselves a duckbill dinosaur.
Yeah.
A duck.
Pair of 'em.
Yep, pair of ducks, and this is the animal that we think is here at this particular site.
This
This
family of dinosaur. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the skeleton of a duck.
Yeah.
And
Very nice.
and that's that. Yeah, and this in particular is a
That's
critosaurian.
Critosaurus,
Yeah, it's a critosaurian hadrosaurid. So a critosaurian saurolophine hadrosaurid, which is we think maybe at least one of the species out here belongs to this group of duckbills.
Mhm.
So. And there may well be more than one. In fact, it would be weird if there wasn't more than one.
Yeah.
Probably. But,
Texture. Is this?
yeah, but cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent visual
I
aids.
hope I didn't forget anything too essential. I tried to think hard about which
no, I think
visual
this
aids
is-
I would
this is-
need.
No,
for,
this is great.
Yeah, I just wish I had a larger hole punch. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh no, it's okay.
Or I had like a proper key ring instead of a carabiner. It's fine. I can fix
I was
it.
gonna say I don't want to break it. There we go. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many
Nice.
PhDs does it take to?
Exactly.
Before destroy it.
Yeah. So there you go, chat. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. That was a lot of fun.
No, yeah, my pleasure.
If you could avoid it for now. 'cause maybe
Somebody says in the chat, I flipped a table at my wedding and then started a Nerf gun fight.
Tell him I wish I was there.
I'm wondering if we should
Nice.
go into You guys think... if we
But
go into-
yeah. Let me know if you got any questions, chat.
We're gonna have to at
Because
some
it looks
point.
like
Hope it ain't Parazinosaurus from 73 million years ago? Asked Dr. Tara. Yes, although that is kind of controversial. Whether Dinocheirid, I've heard some people express doubt about that. I won't say who, but yeah. Anywho, yeah. And, oh, Therian, I don't think any primates actually have a baculum anymore. That's, I think, what, our closest mammalian relatives that do have a baculum would be, do they still have a baculum? I'm not sure. Anyhow, for sound to stun prey. No reason to think that they did, I guess. Things like that are difficult to test, I'll say, using fossils. Yeah, in fact, I can't really think of any terrestrial animals that do use infrasound to stun prey, so that would be extraordinarily novel, I think. But we can go ask Matt, actually. It's an interesting question. Very difficult to answer. Yeah. And Toner Bellion says, I think chimpanzees still have a very small baculum. I don't think primates do in general, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Oh, gorillas and chimpanzees are small as we don't. Oh, a lot of primates do have a baculum. Well, I stand corrected. Thank you, Charlie's Dragon. Wow. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. And so do gorillas. Okay. Yeah. Anywho,
Well, you guys saw that washing machine down there? They filled that with like tannerite and were shooting at it and blowing it up. There's a bunch of bullet holes in it.
That is like the
let's see. We've got kind of a goofy question that I could share with you, Matt, but it might be interesting. Would there be any reason to think that any dinosaurs would have used infrasound to stun their prey? That was the question. And are there any terrestrial animals that do that nowadays? And how would we test that?
I don't know off the top of my head about the question about modern animals doing that.
terrestrial.
Sperm whales might do something like that, but I don't know if it's infrasound.
Yeah, I mean, it is, yes, they can focus a beam of their clicks or whatever it is, but I don't know if that counts, so to speak. I mean, I think it's certain, like, I think infrasound is just, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just defined as like below the frequency that humans can hear, right?
I think it is, yeah.
So it's a very human specific metric. It's like ultraviolet light that we can't see, but like, I think many birds see colors that we can't,
they do, yeah.
So it's
tetrachromatic vision.
Yeah, so it's possible that, or like as Z Frank says about the mantis shrimp, imagine a color you can't even imagine, then do that 9 more times. That is how the mantis shrimp do. No, it's sorry, I love those True Facts videos. But yeah, unfortunately, I've never seen a True Facts about infrasound in nature. So I'm going to say it's not impossible. I would say stun their prey is unlikely, but I think it's possible that communication through infrasound was happening, maybe potentially. Yeah. I will say that when we did a study of a dinosaur, a titanosaur, so a type of sauropod, so a long-necked, long-tailed, elephant-bodied plant-eating dinosaur, in this case from Argentina, a dinosaur called Sarmientosaurus. We had basically the whole skull of this animal that let us CT scan it, and among the things we could see was the middle ear or the inner ear of the animal, or we could reconstruct it based on what was there. And my colleague Larry Whitmer that studied that part, that did that part of the paper, basically argued that it had a really long cochlea, which is the structure that's responsible for hearing low frequency sound, or that the longer the cochlea, generally the lower frequency sound you can hear. So this dinosaur, Sarmientosaurus, may well have been able to hear pretty low frequency sound, potentially even below the range of human hearing. I can't say. Yeah.
That's a great answer. I appreciate that, Matt. See?
I'll be here all week.
Yeah, and Jake, you work on sauropods too. There have been suggestions that these guys used infrasound. I guess they seem elephantine with their limb proportions and stuff, but
they're big enough. I'm sure they would have been pretty low.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It's just like a physics thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to get it from the fossil record as in terms of what.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
it would be more speculation, but maybe plausible speculation. Yeah. Well, cool. I appreciate the question there. Yeah. And
See if you could.
And Ms. Art Rules, that's how the elephants at the safari park know about the earthquake. Yeah, so there's footage recently from an earthquake. I think it may have been in San Diego. Before the earthquake even starts, these elephants just start to panic. They like go out and they're just milling around, acting all agitated, and that's before the shaking even reaches that area. And it's like they could hear that in advance, practically. Yeah. The Owly one, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. How does law actually look at bones found? Are they public property automatically? Greetings from Poland. Greetings from Wyoming here. Glad to have you. Watching with the whole family. That's brilliant. Welcome, welcome, Owly one. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday, I think. So laws about fossils will vary by jurisdiction. Country to country, and sometimes province to province, state to state. In the United States, we don't really have proper legal protection for fossils across the board, so it all goes down to land ownership. So the landowners also own the fossils. If the land is public land, federally owned land, like this land that we're digging on right here in southwest Wyoming, then these fossils belong to we the people. They are public property, because they belong to we the people, because they are part of our collective natural heritage, they need to go into a museum. So it's not like in the US you can go and just as a private citizen dig on public land and keep the dinosaur fossils for yourself. No, they need to go to a museum so they can be studied by scientists, preserved for the future, enjoyed by the public, all of that. So we do have protections on public lands. On state lands, it kind of varies from state to state in the U.S. All 50 states have got kind of different expectations and different laws about these things. On private land, it's up to the discretion of the landowner. It could be the most scientifically important fossil ever found, but if it's on private land, then it belongs to the landowner and they could chuck it in the garbage if they want to. They're right legally. So anyway, as a paleontologist, I shudder to think about that, but yeah. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure what the laws are in Poland. I would hope that in a more civilized country such as Poland, that you have better laws about this sort of thing where the fossils are protected no matter where you are, no matter who owns the land. But I don't know. That's my bias as a paleontologist, you know? Yeah. But yeah. Anywho, most countries around the world outside of the US do have protections for fossils. Most countries in which you find a lot of dinosaur fossils, at least. We were talking about this, I think, yesterday. Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Mongolia, China. These are some of the countries with the most dinosaurs named from them, where you've got the most dinosaur fossils. And in each of those countries, these important scientific specimens are protected under the law. Here in the US, it's more complicated than that, unfortunately. Yeah. Anywho, yeah. Hope that makes sense. Yeah. Let me go get some water real quick, and I'll see if any other questions trickle in. But how's everybody doing in the chat right now? What day is it today? Is it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, thank you. All the days kind of, I don't know, the day of the week doesn't really matter that much out here. We work 7 days a week, and yeah, doing everything that we can to get these fossils out of the ground while we can. Linnea says it is Wednesday. It's true, yeah. SSK Very says Venturi Matrix. A lot of it just gets thrown down the hill. But if there might be important scientific data contained within that matrix, like if we suspect there could be pollen grains, or maybe even something super important like an ash layer with, volcanic ash in it, radioactive isotopes that could be used to date the surrounding rocks, then we'll collect that. Yeah. But, I don't know, rock is heavy, and generally we want to reduce the amount of rock that we're bringing back to the museum relative to the amount of bone. since we're mostly here collecting dinosaur fossils and the fossils of other vertebrate and invertebrate organisms, I don't know, we want our fossil to rock ratio to be very high. As much fossil as possible, as little rock as possible, because rock is heavy. Fossils are heavy too, but yeah, does that make sense? I hope it does. Less rock, more fossil. Exactly, Claire Burr. Very concisely put. And Starma says, could you ask the lawyer in the session? He's going to have an opinion about this, but is there a pathway to argue a fossil away from private property? There have been court cases about this, and in the U.S., Trump just about everything. So, yeah. But there have definitely been court cases about this kind of thing before. Yeah. Yeah. Ms. Rule says, how big does the fossil have to be to take it to the lab? It could be microscopic, and we'd still take it to the lab, yeah. So, like, if we're collecting a sample of matrix to try and get pollen grains out of it, those pollen grains are so small you can't really see them with the naked eye. They're going to be smaller than a grain of sand. Yeah, for anybody who's had seasonal allergies, you know how small pollen is. It gets into your mucous membranes in your nose and your eyes and your mouth, and your immune system doesn't like that. Pollen can be very, very small. So a fossil doesn't have to be big to bring it back to the lab. Certainly not. Yeah. Anywho. And... oh, from Pursue 303, thank you, Kleber, for reposting. Do you think the majority of Archosaur, Pterosaur, and more hollow and lightweight bones may have been deposited at different locations where their bones be more likely to be not fossilized? Yeah, so that's what we call, I don't know, like preservation bias. And that might be a good question to get Matt in on, too. But yeah, preservation bias is definitely a thing that we think about all the time as paleontologists. I'm trying to adjust my solar panel to make sure that we're getting enough juice. I didn't quite get enough power to this before, and I want to make sure that we're at 80%. We're doing pretty well. Yeah, what you're talking about is preservation bias, and it's definitely a thing. Let me get a swig of water, and we'll talk to Matt about that. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
You guys talk about preservation bias?
Oh yeah, is that your jam?
Well, no, but like you can't talk about preservation bias enough.
Well, yeah, let's chat about it then. We had a chatter asking whether like hollowness of bones and their size and stuff affects whether or not they're likely to be preserved, and the answer is yes.
Well, with sauropods, I think there's a particular curve where you get a lot of juvenile, like real tiny ones, then you get a lot of massive ones, because the tiny ones are small enough that they get buried quickly and don't get eaten.
Sure.
And the massive ones are heavy enough that their bones don't float away.
And even if they're on the surface for years, like they're pretty resistant to erosion and that kind of thing.
So if you look at like the distribution of overall sauropod fossils,
so it's weird. You get two peaks where it's like
two peaks.
Little tiny
like
guys,
little,
and then the medium-sized guys are pretty elusive.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
Not surprised.
Huh. And I guess I wonder if that's true for other dinosaur groups as well. I would think it would be. Yeah.
Every dinosaur group has their own unique preservation biases.
So you're saying juvenile sauropods are actually pretty common?
Well, no, not common. Just there happen to be more little tinier ones than like the mid-size-ish. You know, so it's not like when I say little, I don't mean like embryonic. I mean.
Okay, I see what you mean. You're talking about
little
like
for a sauropod,
horse size,
like the size of a horse. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fair.
You know, elephant-sized ones.
Gotcha. Okay, in that case then, let me ask a provocative question. Could it be that the middle-sized guys get named as different taxa? So it's like, oh, well, where are the medium-sized guys? It's like, oh, well, they've been named as different species,
Well,
and so...
Well, that actually happens with a lot of, like, the really big ones.
Yeah?
Like Seismosaurus.
Yeah.
Is actually just a big Diplodocus.
Right. Seismosaurus hallorum is now Diplodocus hallorum. It's been sunk into that genus.
So there's a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of that, based on the size.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
They're smaller. But,
Yeah.
with sauropods, like you kind of know they're going to be big. So it's
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
back to that.
There is.
Even the ones that you find are already so big that like they don't look like juveniles. They're, they're like the size of an elephant. So it's not a baby.
Right. Yeah.
Big.
That reminds me of a funny story where I used to work at Museum of the Rockies, and for a while they had an audio tour there, narrated by Jack Horner, for the whole like dinosaur section of the museum, and people who listen to it are like, that's the first time I've ever heard Jack Horner talk about sauropods without just cussing up a storm. So big, and they're such a pain in the butt to dig up.
So one of the ways to prepare to lift weights.
I think I've heard Matt Wadel say that. Yeah.
Well, because when I visit clubs, I tell people, "Hey, can I see your sauropods?" And I'm like, "All right." You break out the forklift.
Exactly. Yeah.
We get a team of like 15 people in there, so we can flip the thing. It's like,
When I got to go to the collections at BYU. At their Museum of Paleontology, it's like a warehouse, and they have I think multiple forklifts there. Yeah.
There's so many. There's just like they're out of room. Because there's all the stuff that Jim Jensen, Jim collected, but there's a lot of nice stuff there.
Yeah.
Like the Cactus Park stuff in particular is very beautifully preserved.
Nice.
And they have, I think it's the scapulocoracoid Supersaurus. It's like almost 12 feet long. It's
nuts.
Massive.
The shoulder blade of this dinosaur.
Shoulder blade. Yeah.
Was that the one that was? So that's the holotype for Supersaurus?
They have the holotype.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They have the holotype, and then there's the big one in Thermopolis.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is Jimbo, I think, is what they call it.
Right. Yeah.
And then so
nuts. Yeah, I remember being there and talking with Brooks Britt, and he showed me this big like crane apparatus they had in one of the rooms for like just lifting up some of these sauropod bones to be able to take measurements and stuff like that.
I wasn't there when I was there.
This would have been.
By hand. Well,
so it was in another room. It almost looked like an auto garage or something, and we were talking about it.
They did mention they have like an engine lift.
Yes, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
car engine. Yeah.
And so he was telling me one time, Toyota Corolla in there, and like hoisted it up on that to change the oil in the air.
The problem with sauropod bones is in life, you could bench press them because they're hollow, but when they get ossified, it's a rock. It's too.
That's what you were talking about. The public like understood or appreciated about sauropods, and you said
how light they were for their size.
Yeah, just all full of air, like I always talk about on stream.
Full of air they were.
Yeah.
Full of air they were.
So, pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
Full of hot air.
We're still hoping to find a sauropod here, but that would be that'd be a nature paper right there.
That'd be groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Really.
Why?
Because there's none from this age in North America at all.
They disappear for a while in North America.
So the latest sauropod in North America is like, I think Cedar Mountain we were talking about.
Is that right?
It's probably mustn't touch the
Is it
level
mustn't?
of the Cedar Mountain.
That'd be like Brontomeris or something like that?
I think that's a little older. It's I want to say the Mussentuchet stuff isn't named, but there's sauropod teeth from the Mussentuchet,
Okay.
and then there's also Sonorosaurus from the Cenomanian of Arizona.
Right. Okay. I didn't realize that was so late.
Any theories about why
That's Turning
that?
Ranch, actually.
Like, what is the explanation for the disappearance from the record, or relative disappearance?
Could be an actual extinction, a regional extinction. It could be that they're
Preservation bias.
environments.
An accident of preservation. Yeah.
But if it were preservation bias,
you'd
you'd expect to find
probably
teeth, right?
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
You'd find something.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like,
Or footprints. Yeah.
So yeah,
They do seem to just disappear from the record, yeah.
moment, yeah. For the moment, the hypothesis that they were extirpated in North America, is consistent with the evidence. But they come back in the Maastrichtian.
Yeah, Alamosaurus comes
at
back.
the very end of the Cretaceous. Yeah,
Yeah.
and presumably from South America. And
Yeah.
I think anybody that tries to tell you they came from somewhere else is not.
You're not on the Asia train
I
there?
am not on the Asia train. No, those things look like Brazilian titanosaurs to me.
Nice. Okay. We talked about that last year, and it's.
Oh yeah.
You seem more strident in your opinion now.
Oh,
you know?
even now? Okay.
Yes.
But the continents at the time were connected.
Well,
Or
so
contiguous, I should
Asia
say.
and North America would have been intermittently in contact throughout the Cretaceous.
Yeah.
And South America and North America, it's less definitive, but there does seem to have been, and this is actually where Nick could step in and talk, there seems to have been a dispersal of duckbill dinosaurs from North America to South America, at least one dispersal. And so if that's happening, there's no reason to expect it to, it couldn't have happened in reverse with other groups of dinosaurs.
Right, yeah.
That's my thesis.
Nice.
Basically.
Connected them at the time. Was it
It's
the
not,
Isthmus of
there's,
Panama
it's,
yet?
There's
Wouldn't be
not
that.
thought to have been a contiguous connection.
You mean like an island chain?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe through the Caribbean someplace or something like that. But
May I chime in?
There's sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, there was.
Sure.
They could take over, and then keeps going. No, it's fine. So there are these volcanic island arcs that appeared during the late Cretaceous, around 90 million years ago. So there could have been these ephemeral volcanic island arcs, kind of like these limited timed events, if you want to say so.
Sure.
So they would could probably use these dinosaurs probably use these as stepping stones during low tides or low regression of the Western Interior Seaway to cross. Well, not Western Interior Seaway. I'm losing my train of thought.
Like the Caribbean, yeah.
Yeah, so that area during when the Western Interior Seaway was lower.
Sure. When sea levels drop, then suddenly it's shorter distance between these islands.
Exactly. Shallower, they have less risk of getting eaten by a mosasaur.
Because you swim in between, presumably, and they probably would have been decent swimmers.
Many of these animals could swim pretty well.
Sauropods could probably float because they were full of air.
I mean, yeah, it would probably be difficult. Like,
And
I don't know.
There's
They'd probably sit
tracks
pretty
of
high
a
in the water.
sauropod that's in water, just the front feet.
Yeah.
So it had its neck up above the water, and then just the front feet just kind of
like punting along.
Yeah.
along the bottom.
So again, being full of air, they'd be really, really buoyant. Like,
And I think hadrosaurs were probably really good. Probably good swimmers as well.
You think so?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
that
I mean,
ossified tendon.
big, massive, muscular tail that would have presumably gone from side to side.
Do you think they could scull well enough with it though? With it so stiff?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's ever done like the range of motion analysis that
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, there's circumstantial evidence in the form of the environments you find them in. You know, like they are if you're going to find a dinosaur in marine beds in North America, it's usually a hadrosaurid.
Or nodosaur.
Yeah, or a nodosaur. Good point. Which also
Which would have been the best swimmer. Super heavy armored
I'd
dinosaurs.
like to see one of those.
Stumpy legs.
Okay, I'll shut up now. No, I do think they were probably, probably pretty adept in the water. I think,
I bet most dinosaurs would have been, yeah.
And that's the other thing is like taking them out of the swamps. When I was a kid, they were all in the swamps, right? Hadrosaurs, sauropods, everything. And then they all became dry land, and then we somehow forgot that, they're an immensely diverse group of animals that was around for 165 million years. That's non-avian dinosaurs, not even counting birds, that lived on every continent, ranged in size from something I could literally hold on my pointer finger to, like, up something that could step on me and not even notice. You know what I mean? So to ascribe them to be, like, all of them are entirely terrestrial is the situation.
That's a good point. I like that, yeah.
oof, try not to fall in there.
But I think I found more.
Oh,
That's what I was
You think that clicks
stumbling.
on?
Yeah, it's kind of more shape to it, whatever.
I'm kind of at a loss.
interesting. If it were 5 times bigger, I'd say, oh, is that something from the sacrum? But
That occurred to me as well. Yeah.
strange. Well, there you have it, Chad. This is, trying to figure things out live. This is how it goes.
The thrill of scientific discovery.
Yeah.
Right, man, how do you say this connection is? Just be careful.
And are we going right now, Chad, or did the satellite cut out? Let me know. When people are cursing the Starlink, it makes me think that the signal's gone.
Yeah, that's kind of hard.
Hopefully it cut out saying that nodosaurs are great swimmers. This is a tricky one, Nick. I'm not totally sure. It might be a fit on. I think it is, but there's little slivers missing here, which is why it's not sealing entirely. But I think that's right.
Yeah.
And we've got a question. Let's give this one to Jake. about if sauropods tried to submerge themselves, would the water pressure be too high with the long neck and everything? This is kind of
I don't know.
An old one,
because
but
there's a lot of like problems that you have to solve when you have a 30-foot neck, including like blood pressure problems. I don't know if they completely submerged.
I don't even know if you could get them to submerge, like with
this,
as buoyant
like
as they were.
They're very light. Like you gotta be thinking like they're big, but like think of a big bird, even like a duck. If it was the size of a sauropod, it would be like 3 times as heavy because it's a water bird.
That's a good point. Shoot.
So it's like I'm sure they could. I mean, I don't see like.
So with as lightweight as sauropods were, why didn't they ever evolve flight?
Well, there are physical limits.
How do we know they didn't?
Yeah, we haven't found them yet.
Yeah, the big Thanksgiving Day parade, Sinclair sauropod. Maybe that's an accurate representation of this animal, where it's just kind of floating above
we haven't found
helium inside all of those.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah. If they sucked in enough helium,
plankton grazers.
maybe they could have floated.
Yeah, that's what Kerry Woodruff said about those diplodocid vertebrae. He's like, if you were to put fill this full of helium, it might.
Float, yeah.
Or maybe I'm thinking of Jim Kirkland talking about Falcarius with the neck vertebrae. But yeah, yeah.
Falcarius is cool. If you chat about Falcarius.
Oh, that's my answer. Anytime somebody asks me, like, Danny, what's an underrated dinosaur you wish got more attention, you wish more people got excited about? Falcarius is, yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Jake? What's yours?
Underrated?
Underrated dinosaur. A dinosaur you wish would become really popular. You wish, like, every kid, like, every 5th kid would be like, that's my favorite dinosaur.
The problem is kids these days know more about dinosaurs than I do. They know more of them. So like
Which kids are you talking to? Because that's not the case with me.
Come into the museum, I'm like, you guys, you know all the things that I don't know yet. So if anything, I would ask them. In terms of sauropods,
yeah.
I mean, Camarasaurus is underrated just because people don't. They overlook.
They're like, it's the most common sauropod in the Morrison.
Yeah, people think it's
got
boring.
that block head.
He's a good blocky head. Yeah.
That's got to be it.
Well, we've got a Camarasaurus on your bag. Can I show that off real quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
People
all right.
always think it's smaller than it is because of like the nice specimen from Dinosaur Monument, which is a juvenile.
Camarasaurus. Maybe this is supposed to be Brachiosaurus. I have this same one, but yours is higher quality, Lauren. Like the stitching is much better. It's got more detail. Yeah, but kind of like this. I think this is supposed to be Brachiosaurus, actually. But mine doesn't have the big lump on its head, so I thought it was Camarasaurus. But anyway, kind of like that. Yeah, so Camarasaurus is your pick?
Camarasaurus is underrated.
Nice, okay,
I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah.
I've got a deep cut for you there if you want one.
Oh, yeah. Drop it on us, Matt.
How about Chilesaurus?
Yes!
Named after the country of Chile, so it's exactly what you think. So Chilesaurus.
Uh-huh. And it's shaped exactly like the nation of Chile, right?
Yes, exactly. That's where the name comes from. Yeah, no, that's not actually accurate, but
It's a snake.
but no, it's so if people are they're probably googling pictures of it now, and it will look very nondescript. But the thing looks like, when you look at the details of its bones, it looks like it fell out of the sky. Like, we have no idea what this thing is related to.
Isn't it supposed to be like a weird ceratosaur or something?
It's possible.
Yeah.
It could be some kind of real. People have even argued it's a
Silosaur?
No, not that. Not quite that weird. But the general consensus is it's some kind of theropod, but nobody really knows.
Yeah.
And it's even been argued that it was a some people probably remember the ornithoscalida hypothesis, the idea that ornithischians and theropods are more closely related to each other than they are to sauropods.
Yeah, which would potentially make sauropods not dinosaurs anymore, which...
I have 2 words for that, and it's air sacs. So.
No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. But, but it has been argued, and I don't agree with this, but it has been argued that that Chilesaurus is like a remnant of the very earliest ornithosauria that somehow survived to the late Jurassic in remote. So at any rate, the thing, like I said, it looks like it came from Mars, like it fell out of the sky. We have no idea what it's related to. We're not even sure if it's a theropod, not totally sure. And to me, those are the most exciting dinosaurs of all, the ones that are the puzzle boxes waiting to be solved.
I like that. That's a really good answer. Yeah. And shoot, I gotta add that to my list of underrated dinosaurs, my hidden gem dinosaurs, for a book idea that I'm working on. So, Yeah.
All bones were
The whole
preserved.
skeleton,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I think
It's
multiple
pretty much the
individuals
entire
too,
thing,
right?
Multiple individuals,
Yeah.
multiple
Some of them
growth
in
stages.
articulation. There's this beautiful like hind foot that.
They are,
Yeah.
I think, all at least partly articulated.
Yeah.
No, so the material's excellent. It's not people trying to, overinterpret scrappy fossils.
Yeah.
These are excellent fossils, and we
This
still
isn't
can't
some
figure out what
duckbill
they,
here,
yeah,
which
they-
is another weirdo.
Oh, that's a cool one too. Although
Is that the one
I
we were talking about last night?
Yeah, that's we were talking about that last night, Jake. Yeah.
I can't begin to tell you what that is.
I was gonna say it. Susie Bateman can't begin to tell you what it is.
Yeah, whether or not it's a Thyreophorion. Yeah.
Yeah,
She was one of the
she's-
reviewers on the paper, and she's like, I think maybe it's a ceratopsia.
She's told me something similar.
Yeah.
I think it rests on the shape of the jaw, which is ceratopsid-like or ceratopsian-like. But
Yep.
yeah, whatever Yucca is, it's another one of these mysteries that fell out of the sky. And I don't know if anybody will remember this from last year, but most of my work is in places like South America and Antarctica,
Gondwana.
Australia, Egypt, and the reason is we've still got these entire lost worlds of dinosaurs. I mean, we do here in North America as well, but the animals, instead of finding new species, we often are finding new groups.
Which is nuts.
Yeah, and
in the 21st century,
in
finding new
2025,
groups of
exactly.
dinosaurs,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like in a way, it's like we're in 1937, Barnum Brown worked in this area in general, and it's like we're taking a time machine back 100 years, when we're in Patagonia, because we're, it's like North America was 100 years ago, something like that. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, you can still find amazing things here in North America, which is why we're here. But but the real weirdos, most of them are Gondwanan. So yeah.
Nice.
I feel like the question has changed, but I think the underrated category.
Yeah.
The small European mini dinosaurs.
Yeah,
One.
from Hot Dog Island and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
And
Magyarosaurus.
the aquatic dinosaurs, I don't feel like they get enough love. Those are some pretty fearsome.
Like penguins? But you mean like marine reptiles like plesiosaurs and
Yeah.
So fun fact, that's a good segue. Do you want to take that one?
No, go for it.
So these are I'll start you off and you can finish me. But those animals that I think you're thinking of, like mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, that kind of stuff, ichthyosaurs, they're actually technically not dinosaurs.
Yeah, they don't count.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a very
Maybe
common
that's why
thing.
they don't get the love that they.
Yeah,
Partially,
I
yeah.
think maybe a little bit, but I think mosasaurs have become very popular due to the Jurassic World series. There's a beautiful shot in the preview, or the preview, I guess. Yeah, my brain is not functioning.
The
the trailer.
oversized.
That's what I'm thinking. Thank you, Jake. The trailer for the new Jurassic World movie of a mosasaur breaching next to the boat.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if they would have
Naturally.
really done that a lot, but. But yeah, the animals at least have become more popular due to the movies.
Sure. Yeah. Even if they are grievously oversized and
Yeah.
they're like 300 feet long. Yeah.
Polycotylids, they don't get enough.
Polycotyloid plesiosaurs? You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, because everybody.
penguin-shaped guys?
If they know what a plesiosaur is, they usually know the really long-necked ones. right?
Elasmosaurs, yeah.
They're,
Or maybe plesiosaurs.
yeah.
But.
Yep.
I think
There's
tyrannosaurs are underrated.
pliosaurs and plesiosaurs.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Tyrannosaurs are underrated.
Tyrannosaurs
T-Rex
are
is
underrated.
T-Rex is underrated.
Like nobody knows what a T-Rex is. It's
Yeah.
That reminds me, when we were talking about our Alvarez Conchus.
Yeah. Captain
We were like,
Hook.
yeah. We were trying to come up with a name for it before Denver came up with True Arc. And he's like, why don't we call it T-Rex? And that's the genus name, like T-E-E-R-E-X. Yeah, glad we didn't.
Yeah.
That may have been rejected in review.
It's like Raptor Rex.
Oh,
It's,
don't get me started. We were talking about that yesterday. Yeah.
Was Denver one of the ones that figured out that?
Yeah,
that
he was in the
a-
rebuttal paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said it didn't go nearly far enough. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think the general consensus is that it's a juvenile Tarbosaurus.
From
isn't it?
Mongolia.
Yeah.
Not from China, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, also from Mongolia. Like, so the provenance was wrong too.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's the real kicker. Is
Ah,
that,
Oh man.
yeah, that may have been misrepresented.
Or maybe, misrepresented to whoever bought it, or
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll say that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
sorry. Old.
But yeah. Jody Fish says, still working on the same hadrosaur? This is what, day 4? You know? Rome wasn't built
well,
in a
we
day.
don't know for
and-
sure. There could be more than one buried here.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that is a sacrum from a juvenile right there.
I mean, it's not out of the question. Hadrosaur bone beds are
Yeah.
and in places in Patagonia too.
Yeah. Let's see. Mandy, do you have an underrated dinosaur that you wish got more attention?
No, I'm
Or
not
how about
good on the spot.
How about well, I'll come back to you if you
Okay, yeah.
She does like Camarasaurus because it always looks like it's smiling.
want. I like that, yeah. Those exposed teeth. All right, Eric, putting you on the spot. Underrated dinosaur.
Ooh.
We're trying to change this bit by little bit, you know, making these dinosaurs more popular on stream.
For the dinosaurs.
There we go, yeah.
I get paid by Chilesaurus. Yeah. Cop sends me coprolites. Yeah.
That's not really
South American
That's a
coprolite.
good answer, Nick.
Good answer, good
Yushisaurus.
Yushisaurus,
Yeah.
which is a mascot for your school, correct?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
College of Science.
Uh-huh.
What is this creature?
Yushisaurus?
I don't think I know what that is.
It just came out last year.
Oh, is that the one that B found? Shondo
Yeah.
B found? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. It's a stegosaur, ankylosaur?
Ankylosaur?
Yeah, okay.
Ankylosaur,
Yeah, okay. I was
yeah.
in
I
the
think it's
ballpark.
I think it's an ankylosaur.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
I kind of forget, too. It's something basal.
But it doesn't have any scoots.
Oh, is it scootless?
It's naked.
No, it has.
The
It has
reconstruction.
I don't think
Really?
it was in the, it just wasn't figured that way.
Doesn't have the scoots.
Put
Yeah.
some scoots
So
on
it's
Yushisaurus.
Yeah.
It's actually described by not a lot of material.
Really? Yeah. But it's important. What age is that? Like early Jurassic?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I believe of China.
Yeah. Yeah. We covered that live on stream, I think last year. It might even be in one of the stream titles. We'll see. But yeah, Yushisaurus. Yuxisaurus. Exactly, Starman. Good find. But yeah, that's a good one. And so this is, you were telling me yesterday it's become kind of a mascot for the school?
Yeah, it's on
yeah?
all the hoodies for, well, most of the hoodies for
They
the
sell
College of
plushies
Natural
at the
Science.
bookstore.
I love that.
Plushies
I
too.
love
Uh-huh.
Yushisaurus.
Yeah.
Got one of those.
Can people online? I'm sure.
You have to look at the IUP bookstore.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
were on
maybe.
sale last time I sold them. I don't know if
University of Pennsylvania
Yeah,
bookstore?
the-
That's
the-
not confusing.
The intuitively named Indiana University of Pennsylvania. This dig is sponsored by the Indiana University of Pennsylvania bookstore and somebody's mustard.
And Blockman's mustard, yes indeed. Yeah. I think we had in the chat just a few minutes ago. Let's see if they show back up again. It's really it's just one of our moderators has made an account.
Blockman's mustard emote.
What is this white?
Oh, there are some. We'll show you in a second. Let's get some of those
We get some
Blockman's
mustards in the chat.
emotes. Yeah, let's get some mustards in the chat there.
A little deposit.
Here, I'll show you when they show up, Jake.
Precipitates out here.
Yeah.
Mustard here.
Nice.
Just,
Number 2 in the hardness scale.
Yeah, there we go. There's some of those. Well, they're animated too.
Oh, dancing mustard.
Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing.
isn't that good?
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you, Danny. This
Yeah.
is a Twitch-specific question, but as a Gen Xer who experienced Twitch for the first time a couple days ago, what is all the like animations that appear? What does that mean?
Animations.
Like,
you mean
like
the
sometimes
little?
like a T-Rex will walk on the screen and that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, those are my alerts. So if somebody follows, if somebody subscribes, that kind of thing.
Nice,
That's
okay.
just trying to like be like, hey, thank you for following or subscribing. I put those together, so that's not like a Twitch feature.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I'm glad those are working because I wasn't totally sure. So, yeah, awesome. Thanks. Mandy, do you have?
I've got mine for our museum specifically. So a lot
Oh.
of my experience there has to do with how field trip kiddos experience the museum.
Yeah.
And when we ask them as they're walking in, who's your favorite dinosaur? Who do you want to see? They all say T-Rex.
Yeah.
And they're walking
Great
in
choice, though.
and into the Jurassic exhibit, they'll see Allosaurus. Is that T-Rex? So my answer at our
Yeah.
museum, because no one's recognizing Allosaurus or giving it very much deserves.
Right, yeah.
And they all want to go around the corner and see the T-Rexes and stop and admire Allosaurus.
That's a good answer. I like that a lot. And we have so many specimens of Allosaurus, and we know a good deal about that animal that it would be nice if some of the attention that T-Rex gets was instead maybe diverted to Allosaurus, who is, I think, around for a lot longer than T-Rex, right? Like, we've got multiple species of Allosaurus, and yeah, like how...
Portugal, there's this Portuguese species.
There's
Yeah.
supposedly Allosaurus europaeus. I mean, it's something related if it's not the same genus.
Although I've heard that...
Actually,
was it Ethan was saying that he thinks that all the diagnostic characters for A. europaeus are probably not real?
I don't. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
there was just a publication about it.
Yeah.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
So-
out of the loop with the literature right now.
There's a lot to
Yeah.
cover. Shoot, I'm supposed to like cover these things live on stream every day, and like I miss stuff. So
Breaking news from the dinosaur world.
exactly, yeah. Then we have a segment
that
called
idea.
Fossil News. Yeah.
Dino.
And it's like traffic, and then it shows that clip from the Lost World Jurassic Park with the T-Rex biting the stoplight. And it goes weather, and then it's like a weather lady like pointing at a green screen. There's an asteroid crashing behind her.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, chat. You've seen it.
Nick has a suggestion.
Yeah, I
think.
got an underrated dino that I won't, joke around with.
Yeah?
It's Rhino Rex.
Rhino Rex.
King of the noses.
Exactly. From the is it from the Cedar Mountains?
It's from the Neslin Formation.
Right. Yeah. Which from the Book Cliffs in Utah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Super
And that
cool.
was named on the basis of a that was a crowdsourced name. Like I think they opened it up to being like name suggestions, and that's
Pretty
the one that
brave.
won. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
me.
pretty extremely brave, and yes, you know my thoughts on that, Warren.
On Bodie
The world's
McBoatface.
first whisk broom injury just happened.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Take one under the fingernail.
God, I need to do more field work. I'm getting very delicate.
You're going soft there.
Yeah. I have a bunch of underrated dinosaurs
From
too.
Bit more
right where the bush was.
Yeah.
Rhino Rex.
Oh, is there
Oh,
one there?
this was plant food.
Jump here. Want to see it?
If it's gonna hold up.
Hopefully it does. He's throwing it.
Says the
Bone?
looks like it.
Can't tell.
Break it.
Do you want a hand lens? Might be too dusty.
It may be at this end. I think there might be trabeculae. Yeah, he's right. Right here. Yep.
Yeah.
See
Yeah. There we go.
The
yeah.
little holes.
Mhm.
Yep. I just was looking on the wrong side.
Yep, here's more.
Nice. Shoot, this is again like I'm frustrated by this because it's right on the surface. This is stuff that's been really badly eroded.
And the rock is.
Yeah, there we
the
go, there's one
fossils
there.
Are covered in rock concretion, like so.
Yeah.
Rock, extra hard rock formed around the bones for whatever reason, and it's making it hard to tell what's what. I have lots more underrated dinosaurs, incidentally.
Give us another one. Yeah.
Kanzu, Dreadnoughtus, Paralititan.
I feel like Dreadnoughtus has gotten a lot of attention.
Dreadnoughtus is not
yeah. Oh, you're just talking about dinosaurs you've described. Yeah. Well, in that case, Trurarchunkus.
Yeah. Captain Hook. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've about 17 more.
Modern Nikons are underrated.
I agree. Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Or no,
Alvarezsaurs are cool.
Alvarezsaurs.
Yeah.
Oh, Trurarchunkus is an Alvarezsaur. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Weird guys. Yeah, we think that their small claws probably evolved. They're extremely short, robust arms with one big claw on each hand. Probably evolved for like ripping open rotting logs to get at the insects inside.
That's the
Would make sense.
prevailing wisdom.
Yeah. But there's another hypothesis that maybe they were using them to steal pumpkins from angry farmers. That's why they've got really long legs, so they can still stand up while holding a pumpkin.
I love this. And whose hypothesis is this?
It's mine.
Oh, okay, I love it.
Can a plant person
Sorry,
weigh in on the likelihood of pumpkins being around?
Please.
Probably not so likely.
So pumpkins are gourds. What
back
group
here
is
with my
that? I know they're angiosperms.
It's the Cucurbitaceae.
Okay.
The cucurbit family, so cucumbers, watermelons, gourds, squashes.
Nice.
I don't know the date of origin.
But probably Cenozoic.
Probably.
Gotcha. So we'll say stem pumpkins instead.
Why do you say probably Cenozoic?
Just looking at, it's a pretty more derived angiosperm family, and not a lot of evidence for fruits that big so far from the Cretaceous. I'd have to look back at my dicot family tree here though to get that. I speak too much out of knowledge here.
Is it cucurbits?
Yep.
Cucurb. Group name. Cucurbaceae?
Cucurbitaceae.
Oh no.
Cucurbitaceae. Nice.
Fun fact, that type of
Brushed
fruit
away
is
a little
called a
piece of bone,
pepo,
but I got it.
P-E-P-O.
A pepo.
Yeah.
So the whole group of plants, like their common name is pepos?
That is the common name, like the name of the fruit, that fruit type. Like a
Gotcha.
palm,
Uh-huh.
apple, yeah. The fruit
Interesting. Pepo.
Alrighty, I'm gonna get going because I gotta run into town
All right.
and then pick up the guys at the other site.
Nice.
Chat,
Cool.
you need anything from town?
Yeah, let us know if you need anything.
Does anyone else need anything here?
Type quick, because he's gonna go. Yeah. Be safe out there, Jake, says
well.
Claire Burr. Yeah.
There
You
was
guys later.
something I was going to. Nah.
Claire Burr says Taco Bell, breadsticks,
Oh, I could go for a breadstick right now.
pumpkins, soft serve, cake or pizza, chocolate.
The pumpkin delivery guy?
I'll write all that down. I'll make sure I get it.
Sounds good. All right, drive safe, Jake.
Yep, I'll see you guys later.
Don't hit any sauropods on the way there.
I highly doubt that I will, but
Not impossible.
It's technically not impossible.
Yeah.
It would be like hitting a telephone pole.
Or many of them.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Yes.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Oh my goodness.
With an elephant, with a whale. Yeah, basically a whale resting on 4 telephone
Could
poles.
you roll down the glue?
But I can't even imagine how terrifying. We had an elephant when I was on safari. An elephant walked past our tent in the in the
Why would you
night.
do that?
Yeah.
It was whinnying. It was a 6-ton bull
Revenge
elephant.
of the
And, like,
cashews.
It humbles you as a mere human.
Just an animal
So I
that
can only
big.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's nuts.
Here, I'm gonna take Jake's spot over here. Now that we've got room, unless anybody else is feeling cramped and wants to dig, I want to give you the opportunity.
I'm actually gonna move down.
All right. Wow. All right. I'll try and put this here in a way that it doesn't fall over. I don't give chat a concussion.
I thought I was supposed to.
This is amazing. Yeah. Yep.
I just feel like my arms are burning up because I've been putting on sunscreen like crazy.
Nice.
It was so hot by the end of the summer.
It was really nice yesterday. I was in a jacket.
And Urban Cowboy says, I used to love dinosaurs, but have drifted away as I got older.
Oh.
That's tragic.
That
I'm sorry.
happened to me too, but then I came back to them.
Yeah.
It's possible. Yeah. Yeah.
We will always welcome you back into the fold.
The prodigal daughter.
Yep.
Um,
Our arms are open. And
let's
our
see.
hearts.
They say, from what I was just looking up, it seems like we've never discovered an entire T-Rex skeleton. Why not? And I think that's probably no longer true.
Well, I think
The
100%.
North Carolina's got one now. If it is T-Rex.
yeah,
that's a whole
being
can of
very
worms right
hedgy,
there.
Wait.
But I think even that might be. I mean, I think even the 99% or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Might not be totally complete.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess that probably.
Well, it's still missing the skin and the
In the
organs.
The ear bones.
Yeah.
Oh, the stapes. I don't. I actually don't know. It is preserved sometimes.
Yeah.
Why isn't a complete T-Rex never been found? Well, it probably being a gigantic apex predator, there probably weren't that many of them at any one time compared to, like, say, duckbill dinosaurs or horned dinosaurs or any of the prey species.
So it's just a statistics game.
It's partly that. So there's fewer sources of them. You know, so they were likely, well, they were undoubtedly rarer in the environment than herbivorous dinosaurs were. Or like other big dinosaurs, plant-eating dinosaurs. And then, you know, I guess the other thing is, like, think about all the things that can happen to an animal's body between, you know, in the 66 million years between when the animal croaks and then we find it, you know. So it can, you know, if you're trying to bury an animal, bury and preserve an animal that's the weight of an elephant, you know, and that requires a lot of sediment, and you know that you know can take some time to accumulate, and so in that time things are being washed away or destroyed or whatever. You know, scavengers might come and pick at the carcass, and then, you know, even if the entire thing makes it into the fossil record, usually we find these things by looking for pieces of bone that have eroded out of the ground.
Yep.
So nature finds these before we do, and you know, and almost dinosaur is found by somebody walking along looking for bone fragments on the ground, and if you originally had 100% of the
if you're
that would be, I mean,
whatever,
almost unprecedented luck. So the genuine rarity of the animal probably.
What about habitat? Like, a lot of these plant eaters are spending a lot of time in wet places where there's more abundant plant life, but are the predators moving between patches of them, like they're not spending all their time in that habitat? they're moving between.
Yeah, that's
You know, like, just
yeah,
less
that's probably
likely to be
probably
preserved
part of it
'cause they're
too.
not as
Yeah,
much
that's
time
probably
in
part
the
of
wet
it too.
places.
More mobile than
Yep.
yeah. What about the Black Beauty at the Royal Tyrrell? That's pretty.
What about it?
That's pretty complete, isn't it?
I think about 80% complete.
Yeah.
I was looking at a chart the other day.
There
That's
are
a,
other.
boy, that's a good looking
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
presentation. Oh,
Yeah, there are others that are even more complete than that one. Sue comes to mind.
Yeah,
at
oh,
about,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
something
yeah.
like
Did you see
85%.
some oyster knives and a
There
a
was
brush
one.
over
is
here?
it under me? Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
There we go. Yeah. You toss me those?
Let's not. That's
Thanks.
a little pointy for tossing.
There's one more under your foot too.
If you're using that one, you can
Oh,
continue.
geez.
No?
Nope,
Okay.
I was literally sitting on them.
No worries. But another thing too is that like even if there is a complete skeleton in the ground and like you're digging it up, it's not always guaranteed you're going to dig the whole thing up. I mean, like it might take multiple years to excavate a big specimen. You might not have the budget to come back.
Yep.
Somebody
Yeah, again, this is a big adult. Will be 43 feet long, probably somewhere big animal.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to remove enough rock sometimes to get the entire thing. Like
Exactly.
there probably are. In fact, I'm almost sure there are T-Rex specimens that have been found before, where if you push the cliff back a little bit more, you'd probably find more of it.
Yep.
But it becomes a thing of diminishing returns too, where
Yeah.
you
Maybe you don't need the very tip of the tail.
spend the next 4 months trying to get the last couple of bones. I mean, we should be in an ideal world. We would do that, but
Yeah.
it's the pressure is always on to show results and that kind of stuff too. So.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably some danger associated with certain excavations.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
destabilizing everything above.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
With the B-Rex specimen, that site in Garfield County, Montana, there was just some metatarsals sticking out at the bottom of like a 50-foot cliff.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so Jack Horner tells this story about, they had to send out climbing crews with jackhammers. So there were people rappelling down the side of this cliff with jackhammers, and it took like 3 seasons to knock that whole cliff down before they even got to the bone layer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there were people who came back for like 3 years in a row,
And
and
never
that's all
saw a
they did,
bone.
and they never
Yeah.
saw a single bone. Yeah. So, yeah. I've personally worked at sites where like we knew that there was a tail going into the cliff, and we just didn't have the time and the budget and everything to go get it. Yeah, it's.
The joke would be on you if it was a really long tail like a thresher shark.
It just keeps going.
Keep going.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna spend the rest of my life digging this thing up to get all the vertebrae. Yeah. But
Oh, there's a leaf.
Yeah. Yep.
nice. Okay. Yeah. What do you think, Mandy?
So it's from a flowering plant, the leaf of a flowering
Oh, an
plant.
angiosperm. Let me show the camera. I'll show you, chat. Just as I have you settled down, I'm gonna pick you up. Try not to drop you. Let's go see this leaf.
And it's one where we don't have any margin, and so
Okay.
as it is right now,
Beautiful.
you wouldn't be able to identify it. But that said, you can see really good detail of the veins. So these are secondary veins that come off the primary. In between them are the tertiary veins. But you can actually, I think I can see with my bare eye that there are some veins that terminate in glands in the center of the little spaces between the veins. So the detail on that is so good that probably if we compare it to morphotypes that were collected last summer where we do have a whole leaf, we could probably identify it as a morphotype, a type of leaf shape. But it definitely came from a flowering plant, probably a tree or shrub.
Nice.
Yep.
So what about the morphology in particular tells you it's angiosperm?
Net pattern of
Gotcha.
venation is exclusive to
Very cool.
flowering plants.
Yeah, I guess you don't have that
Yeah.
in ginkgos
You
or
don't have it
anything
in.
like that.
They all go in a straight line. They don't meet back up with each other and
Right.
reconnect. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for showing us.
Absolutely. Good find, man.
Thanks.
I don't know if we want to wrap that up and keep it as just evidence of something that came from the spot, but we can put it up above.
We'll save it for now and decide what we want to do with it, I guess.
But it's actually really cool because you don't often find leaves right in the same layer that bones are found.
Right, yeah.
A lot of times the conditions preclude one or the other, and so to have them be so connected to each other is just a really cool discovery too.
That is really cool. Shoot. We've got another question in the chat about fossil plants. What's the oldest type of fruit that we know of?
Oldest type of fruit. Okay, there's the oldest type of fruit. One really old fruit. I'm not going to be, because I haven't kept up with the literature. I'm mostly in the education field now, but I haven't kept up with the literature. But one really old actual fruit from a flowering plant comes from the Liaoning deposits in China.
Nice.
And so this is an aquatic plant that protects seeds inside of a pod. So a fully enclosed carpel, which is kind of a definition of a flowering plant. And so that dates back to, what is the age of landing? Like 120? 125?
So it's probably, probably 125.
125-ish, yeah. And so is that Archifructus? It's one of the oldest known flowering plants, and it's the fruits that were actually found. And so one cool thing is we have a
Nice.
people are asking, like, why is this little display here? Because that's one of the many flowering plants that we have a fossil evidence of.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a nerdy question. Do the reproductive structures produced by things like conifers and pteridosperms and that kind of stuff?
Or cycads.
Does that count as, or cycads, do they count as fruits?
Gymnosperm is technically naked seed.
Okay.
So it's not fully enclosed. So it doesn't technically, I think, count as a fruit.
Okay. What about like the stuff that ginkgos produce that's disgusting?
That's on the edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh. I've never thought of those not being true fruit. That's really interesting. So in order to be a true fruit, it has to be fully enclosed?
Fully enclosed, yeah.
Okay.
Ovules inside of the protective.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
All right.
Cool.
I learned something today.
Awesome. Thank you for the question and thank you for the answer, Mandy.
And if I am wrong about that, and anyone wants to share in the chat, like I said, haven't kept up with the literature, so I'm happy to learn more.
Awesome. We've got a link for the Wikipedia article for Archifructus right here, so people can learn more as they would like. Yeah, good stuff. Very cool. Yeah. Awesome. All right, bring this back over here. Set this here.
Right, there might be bone underneath you.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a natural.
I'll probably put my backpack right on. Yeah.
This is weird.
Find some more even ground.
I guess this is kind of normal in the environment.
I mean,
That'll
it's
do.
possible that this is just like scree that didn't go very far. You know what I mean? But it's also possible, given the tilt of everything, that it is really the bone layer. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
Oh, what species of fruit that we consume today? That's a tricky one.
That we can. Well, I mean,
It's the orange.
let's see.
So in the Hell Creek, I'm just thinking of plants that you find in the Hell Creek.
Yeah.
You could have made beer. There are hops.
Oh.
And you could have smoked some illegal substances. So
Well,
there was
legal
hemp.
in some places.
Yeah. Hemp. And then I'm trying to think in terms of poppies. So you could have made.
Oh.
So there's lots of other things I
Wow,
can think
kind of
of.
a good
but
time
I'm
back in
not-
the Hell Creek, yeah.
Trying to think about the fruit side of things. That might be one that if anyone has a quick fingers on Wikipedia searches, they might answer that faster than I can come up with.
We do have some people who are very quick at that. Yeah. Yeah, somebody try and look that up. But we've got a question for Matt. What's the most complete Anzu specimen found?
Oh.
And is it that rare that you'd only find 50 or 60% complete specimens?
There are some privately owned specimens of what is probably Anzu that are, I think, more complete even than the ones we have. So the holotype is, I'm going to say the holotype's probably somewhere between 50 and 70% complete, and, and the same for the referred specimen. So in the 2014 paper, where we named Anzu, we described 4 specimens. One that we named the holotype, so it's a partial, roughly 3/4, 50 to half to 3/4 complete skeleton. another referred specimen that's about the same completeness from almost the same spot. It's only, I think, 150 feet away it was found.
Oh, wow.
It's a little lower, either lower or higher in stratigraphic section, so they weren't contemporaneous animals, but they lived in the same ancient area, I guess. There's a third specimen found near in North Dakota. So those two are from South Dakota. Our two are from South Dakota. There's another one from North Dakota. And then there's a jaw that was also found in South Dakota, and those are the four that we describe. I think there's been a couple others described since. None of which are as complete as the ones that we described, especially the two, the holotype and the referred specimen at the Carnegie Museum.
Yeah.
But there have since been other Hell Creek oviraptorosaurs found that I think are more complete than either the holotype or the referred specimen.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
there might be different taxa.
it's possible because there does seem to be more than one oviraptorosaur taxon in the Hell Creek.
Because there's Eoneophron now?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, the
We
holotype-
covered that live on stream.
Yep,
Yeah.
Holotype is also at the Carnegie. That to me, the bones of Eoneophron look a lot like Anzu, but they're smaller, and histologically they suggest that they're an adult.
Yeah.
So it may have been a second kind of smaller bodied oviraptorosaur in the Hell Creek, and there may be a third one potentially. So probably at least 3 taxa, maybe.
Yeah. We had one that we dug up in 2014, I think.
Okay.
On Hell Creek. Well, part of it was collected then. Part of it was collected prior. Big sandstone blocks.
Oh, is this Sandy Chicken?
Sandy Chicken.
Yeah. I know the specimen. I've never seen it myself. But yeah, I looked at pictures with Denver one time. And,
nice, yeah.
And yeah, I think it is another oviraptorosaur. It's quite big, as I remember. And so, so it might be Anzu, it might be something else. There's a specimen at the Burpee Museum nicknamed Pearl that's pretty decent, either Anzu or something closely related. So it's not as rare as we used to think, I think. And I think it's partly that we talked about this in our paper somewhat, but they tend to be found in mudstones for, at least to the point where we had found them, or people had found them to that point in 2014. And so I think maybe a lot of times people are looking in the channel sands in Hell Creek, and they're finding bigger stuff like duckbills and triceratops and the occasional T-Rex. These smaller guys, I think, tend to be found in these, overbank mudstones, and once people start looking at them, then lo and behold, they'll find them. But yeah, there are. I know that there are privately held specimens of Anzu that are quite nice, and that
like we were talking about earlier today.
Yeah, preserve some stuff that I probably shouldn't talk about, but is cool. It's very, very cool. Yeah.
If only those were in a museum, you know.
And so I mean, for now they're privately held. They might not always be. But it's a rare animal for sure. I mean, rarer than Edmontosaurus or Triceratops.
Sure.
It's also that the bones are very, very, very fragile. That thing was, Jake was talking about sauropods being air-filled. Anzu was absolutely air-filled. If it breaks on the vertebrae, the interior of the vertebrae look like sponges, and it's just got, the limb bones are usually crushed flat because.
So it's almost like a pterosaur.
They were very, very pneumatized, it seems, and so that conspires against their preservation as well, because the more delicate your bones, generally speaking, the less chance you have to, be fossilized in the first place and then be found before you're obliterated. So
another factor too, why they might be considered rare. No teeth. It's not like you're finding Anzu teeth all over the place.
Excellent point. Yep.
So,
so they're toothless. So they're, the evidence of them is not great. Unfortunately, Nick's walking away just at this moment, but I was just going to give Nick a shout out because he, unlike me, Nick has actually found Anzu material in the field in the Hell Creek. Yep. I was just the lucky guy that inherited the specimens we have at the Carnegie. So, But probably. I don't think it was necessarily a genuinely rare animal in its environment, other than rarer than probably the big duckbills and horned dinosaurs and stuff. But again, search image is part of it. Fragility of the fossils is part of it. And toothlessness. That's a good one. Is a lot of our evidence for dinosaur abundances comes from shed teeth, and and this one didn't have any shed. So.
What do you think their diet would have been? Are you on the herbivore train for these guys?
I'm an omnivore fan for these guys. Because I feel like I feel like there's not a huge amount of logic to having very raptorial claws on your hands if you're not using them occasionally to grab stuff that's moving and trying to run away from you.
Fair.
I do think probably they were eating a lot of vegetation, maybe some fruits that we just, some of the early fruits that we just talked about.
Yeah.
But I think they probably also, if like a mammal ran by, and they could catch it, they would probably eat that too.
Our ancestors there. Yeah.
Would have lived in fear from the chicken from Hell?
Yeah.
Heck? Okay, can I say
Yeah.
Hell? I didn't know if
Hell
I could.
Creek, yeah,
Okay,
it's fair game.
Chicken from Hell Creek, exactly. So yeah, I think they were probably the best guess. My best guess is that they're omnivorous.
Yeah,
They're kind
that
of
would
a
make
jack
a
of
lot
all. Like, I think of them like, and this is a very unoriginal idea, but I think of them quite cassowary-like. And cassowaries eat mostly fruit. I think maybe some leaves. I think
like
the
spiders.
occasional vertebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not totally sure about vertebrates with them, but I think they're not entirely herbivorous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe even just like a chicken. Like
Oh, chickens
will gobble down mice and stuff like
destroy
that.
mice if they see them.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it's horrifying.
Look at a video of it. It's
It's
wild.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
gosh.
you will never look at a chicken the same way. I mean, my friend Ken Lacavera, actually, he's a paleontologist who probably some people have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
He has chickens, or at least used to, in his backyard, and he would tell me all the time if one of them, these are his, happy domestic chickens, not
Mm-hmm.
like wild, crazy, jungle fowl or something.
Yeah.
When they would see a mouse, they crazy and chase it down and just smash it on the head with their beaks. I mean,
Yeah.
and eat it. So
Yeah.
so even animals like chickens that we think are docile herbivores are not always that.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's video of it's pretty widespread online of like this cat that's like kind of chicken runs over it, kicks the cat and just swallows the mouse whole right there as the mouse is alive. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, so don't feel so bad about eating them. Chickens, I mean. Just kidding.
Velici says, my chickens always had free reign of the garden, and they would go, they'd be so enthusiastic whenever they spotted a big spider or a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chickens
Yeah.
are actually, we think of them as food animals, as they are, but, they originally evolved to be these ground foraging omnivores,
Yeah.
and they are very, very good at that.
Yep. When I was in Puerto Rico last month, those red jungle fowl are all over the place.
Yeah.
You see them scratching around in the undergrowth looking for things to eat.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why chickens are super successful as invasive species. Like, if you
Yep.
go to Hawaii, you see chickens all over the place.
Yeah.
Because once
Puerto
they get
Rico
out, they're
too,
pretty
yeah.
good at surviving.
Yeah, the hurricane that there's visible in Jurassic Park is what freed all the chickens, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Shoot.
Yep, those are the ones.
Wow, I didn't know that either.
Hurricane Iniki.
Huh, wow.
Wild.
But yeah, they're the giant feet of a chicken. I think
Yeah.
unlike a lot of birds, the first toe touches the ground.
The hallux,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah. And so they use those big feet to scrape away leaf litter, and it's really fun to watch. Actually, if
Yeah.
you're a weird nerd like me, watching a chicken forage in leaf litter, they kick away the leaves and they look for little things scurrying away, and then if they don't see anything, they move on to the next patch of leaves and they skip. And it's this little dance they do across the forest floor. It's really cool.
It's pretty neat. Yeah. And they do it all the time. This is many of their waking hours are spent doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if there was a subway?
Do you envision
Like in the underground?
Kicking
subway,
well, it's
in a giant
it's
subway?
it's dew claw didn't touch the ground, so I don't think they could do it exactly the same way, but they might have kicked away things with their feet. Sure.
How did you get involved with Anzu in the first place? You said you
I inherited it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the Carnegie bought it. So they bought what would become the holotype and the referred specimen from tree bulb paleontology, and it was originally found by a guy named Fred Nuss and his wife Candy Nuss from they have a fossil hunting company called Nuss Fossils, and they teamed up with tree bulb. And before I got to the Carnegie, the museum had already kind of agreed to buy these from Mike and Fred.
So it was the
basically.
tree bulb specimen.
Yeah, well, there's more than one thing
Yeah.
going by that
Yeah.
name. So Mike also found a place called the Sandy Site that yields lots and lots of
Right, yeah.
Oviraptorosaur material. So that's but yes, I think in general these are the tree bulb Oviraptorosaurs that kind of made their way online in the in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah. Advertises the chicken from hell.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember being really excited when it finally got published in 2014.
You're never supposed to say finally.
Well, I mean, we've been hearing about it for
No,
decades
yeah,
prior to
no,
that.
No,
So
I was pleased
yeah.
when they Apologies to theropod fans everywhere for taking 10 years to do it, but in my defense, it's not really a group I work on very much,
Yeah.
And so there was a big learning curve for me there. But
and I knew it was like a commercial thing too, so it's
Yeah.
like, is this ever going to get published?
yeah,
and then
yeah,
it
yeah,
did. So,
yeah. Well, finally it did.
I was grateful.
Yeah.
That wasn't meant as a dig at
Oh,
you
no, I
in,
know,
in any capacity.
No, I'm
Yeah.
joking. I've long. I mean, if you had said that in like April 2014, I might have been slightly offended. But we're now 11 years removed, and so
All's well that ends well.
yeah, exactly. For me, yeah, I'm pretty proud of how that paper came out, and maybe someday definitely someday we'll do like a full osteology of it.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, although that might be something that a student does, and I kind of am, in the back seat rather than driving the bus, so to speak. But, yeah.
Oh, and Nick is back now too. You were gonna say?
Oh yeah, Nick has actually found Anzu material in the field, unlike me.
I did last year in the Hill Creek Formation.
Hell, Crick. Yeah, going on down to Hell Creek. Like, yeah.
Nice. I feel right at home.
You one of them bone diggers?
Do they really call you that?
Oh yeah, and it's like there's almost
like a derision almost.
practically.
Really?
Yeah. Like I almost feel a little bit offended.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found it. In Hell Creek. So my advisor's doing Stead Strat. And cover your ears, geologist, but geology's boring. So
Excuse me.
yeah, that's why I said cover your
fighting
ears.
words.
So I was just putzing around and looking for stuff, and there's another guy that was also prospecting. We both kind of like pinned in on it. It was just sitting there, full femur. The shaft was obliterated, but had both proximal and distal ends, and the accessory trochanteric crest.
Yep.
So you have the greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, and then there's an accessory crest of the trochanters on the. Is it the anterior side or posterior?
No, it's kind of posterolateral
Yeah,
is where the trochanteric crest. It's what do we call it? Oh my God, is it the accessory trochanter? I can't remember. It's been so long. But yes, I know what you're talking about. It's where the trochanteric crest usually is in the theropod. Posterior trochanter. That's what it is. Yeah, Nick sent me a photo of the femora of Anzu and other scenic gnathids are extremely distinctive. And yeah, there was no doubt as to what it was. But the cool thing is, we were just talking about how the shafts of them are hollow, so they get obliterated, and that's part of the reason why we don't find these things that much.
Yeah, there's some of the shafts still there. It's just that
In shards,
in
probably,
shards,
right?
Yeah.
So you say scenic gnathid and not canic gnathid.
Well, so here's the name means
Like gracile or something?
It
or?
means recent, I think, like
Oh,
recent
like
jaw,
Cenozoic.
doesn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Huh.
So, I guess you could argue it either way. Like, so I've always thought of it as like Eocene, Oligocene, which I think is the same root. I think
it is, yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So we don't say Eocene or Oligocene. So I've always said scenic gnathed.
I like that.
You say ornithischian or ornithischian?
I say ornithischian, but I've definitely heard ornithischian.
Ornithischian? Yeah, I say ornithischian as well.
I say ornithischian.
Okay.
I think you're weird.
I always
Tomato,
just
potato, you know?
I always just tell people, say things with confidence and people will believe you.
Yeah.
Except with Diplodocus versus Diplodocus. It's Diplodocus 100% all the way.
In the UK, I think
I
people
was going to
say
say not in
Diplodocus,
England.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pet peeve is the many Abelus because
Abelisaurs,
it's named after a guy named Roberto Abel.
Yeah.
So there's no way it's Roberto. Yeah, but anyway, so
Belosaurs are great.
yes, they are.
They're what these kids call nowadays the goat.
Are they underrated?
They are highly underrated.
I mean, I think they're rated pretty highly, though. You know,
Well,
Carnotaurus gets a lot of
Carnotaurus
attention
in
for sure.
particular.
Rajosaurus or Scorpionovenator.
Yeah, I met somebody with a Carnotaurus tattoo.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
Well, she was a paleontology
Oh.
student,
Oh.
so.
Oh, okay.
But that's a bold move, considering that a new discovery could render obsolete
Your
Sure.
permanent
tattoo
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
People with Spinosaurus tattoos.
It's like I was gonna get a
That's
tattoo
why I
at
got
one
mine
point.
on my butt.
And I decided, like, I'm going to try and preempt that. Like, if it's a reconstruction of an extinct animal, like, it could be disproven tomorrow, you know?
Yeah.
And so my tattoo idea was going to be Compsognathus. So, like, the backwards one with the head on the end of the tail.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have the text, everyone makes mistakes on
I
it.
like it. Yeah.
I put down a deposit for that right before COVID started. And I think the tattoo artist ended up moving away that year.
Oh
So,
man.
yeah.
It was a sign.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm taking a dust in my eyes
That would
break.
be a good T-shirt. But
I did make a T-shirt. No, I had that as a T-shirt when I was in middle school. I designed that on Cafe Press. If anybody
Okay.
remembers
Yeah,
that website.
yeah.
Cafe Press.
Yeah. I'm gonna get some water.
What?
Where did I put that? It's up there.
No, I just went
You behave, chat, for just a second till I'm back.
Bucket
hey,
Brigade.
conveyor belt.
like, yeah. What if there's a dollar mall? Like, there's a Dollar Tree, Dollar General,
Family Dollar.
Family Dollar.
Family Dollar.
Like, just a bunch of stores.
That's
Named
practically
Dollar.
my local shopping center is rapidly devolving into
All
that,
dollar stores.
that just such a thing.
And there's like
Right,
random
like-
Ollie's.
Yeah.
Right, that's basically a dollar store.
Oh,
at this point.
I don't know. Yeah.
The
And then Goodwill.
Dollar Tree now has items up to $5.
That's false advertising.
Five Below, yeah.
Oh, that's what Five Below means? Is everything is below $5? I actually didn't know that.
What do you think it?
I've never been in one. I don't
like
know.
cold weather
I just
gear.
thought it was like cold, like clothes or something.
Oh yeah, or like lines of latitude. Like what's
Yeah.
that company out of Iceland?
Oh, I don't know.
It refers to the latitude of
Okay.
like 72 degrees or something.
I can't stand shopping in regular stores or like just out in like actual stores, so I hardly ever go in them. I like I do buy things, but it's all online mostly. I need to take a break from sitting down. in that position.
Yikes.
What do you think? Like, some of
Let's
it.
see. Somebody in the chat was saying, oh, Crimson Carnotaurus was saying, Carnotaurus is like the go-to medium-sized predatory dinosaur in media stuff. And I suppose it is, isn't it? If you want like a medium-sized predatory dinosaur in your movie or
It
your...
needs to be able to fit into things.
Right,
Yeah.
you
Yet
need
still.
T-Rex to fight something and win. No, I love Abelisaurids. They're my all-time favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, the little arms. Come on, amazing.
Yeah, it's like if a pug was a dinosaur.
No, they look like
Kind
demons.
of, yeah.
I mean, Carnotaurus looks like the devil or something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
Metal.
And yet the arms make it approachable.
Yeah. And what prehistoric planet did to it? Don't get me started.
Oh dear.
People love that. There's a bunch of Twitch emotes of like
know.
Carnotaurus flapping their arms like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh dear.
They've got
Yeah.
right there in the chat, yeah. Thank
I'm
you,
not
Murph.
gonna rain on people's parade, but I'm not a fan.
Or people posting gifs of it.
Yeah, so here, I'll show you. There's emotes of it right there. Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I think I need like a vacuum.
Yeah.
Suck all these dirt.
Puggo Wuggo says, did somebody say pug? Yeah, Nick did.
I said they're basically pugs. Dinosaurs were pugs. They're so ugly. But I love them.
They're all
Dinosaurs?
beautiful in their
Yeah,
own
dinosaurs.
way.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, they're. I think they would have been really gnarly to see in person.
Oh yeah. They probably snorted, you know.
Has anybody
Ugly
done...
dinosaurs, that's another good subject.
Yeah, I think they're. Yeah, I think Carnotaurus is legit pretty ugly. Oh, I always describe Rebeccosaurids as a face only a mother could love.
Like Nigersaurus
Yes,
with the
exactly. With the
straight
yeah,
across
vacuum
mouth like that?
cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It looks like a vacuum cleaner nozzle or something.
Oh yeah.
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 They're kind of like spread out to the side, flat ones.
Walking
Yeah.
along, hoovering up stuff.
Was that what it ate? Algae? That you think things like?
I mean, I think they probably just ate low-growing vegetation in
Okay.
general. I mean, they might have occasionally scraped algae off of rocks, but I don't think you could really make a living off of that. I mean,
I don't know if their
That's
teeth
what
are the
I-
right shape for
Yeah,
that either. Yeah.
yeah.
They're not like marine iguana teeth.
People did argue like that. Diplodocus. I think people argued way back in the day that they did that kind of stuff, but
That they ate mussels.
Yes, that was one thing too.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that is that's a That's a very, very unlikely, very diplomatic.
I think it was the Germans. It was that they ate mussels and that they had their limbs sprawled out to the sides.
Yeah. To which William Holland famously said it's he argued that because the rib cage would be so deep, they would have had to walk around in like gullies all the time.
Troughs, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
in troughs, and he actually
like a
said
highway
something
system.
about
or like a monorail.
He says something about like in life and in science, it's not good to get stuck in a rut or something like that. He makes a pun out of it. Like so, Holland was somebody you definitely didn't want to cross. He edged back.
Was he one of your predecessors?
Oh, in a kind of an oblique way, yeah. He was the second director of the Carnegie Museums back when it was the Museum of Art and the Museum of Natural History.
Oh.
And he was a lepidopterist, so a butterfly expert by trade. But he was also a Presbyterian minister and the chancellor of what would become the University of Pittsburgh.
Right.
So this was like a Renaissance man, around late 19th century, early 20th century. But when John Bell Hatcher died, many people don't know this. They associate Hatcher with Yale and Princeton, and rightfully so. But Hatcher actually spent the last few years of his career at the Carnegie Museum, before tragically dying of typhoid in his 40s, his early 40s. He died. And Holland, they had this giant barn full of dinosaur material that the Carnegie was finding. And Holland stepped in and started describing dinosaurs. And that's why Holland has his name, it has actually not just has his name on, led many studies of dinosaurs in the early 20th century. Yep.
Awesome. There's an excellent book about this, if anybody in chat is interested, called Bone Wars by Tom Rea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which you...
Yeah, they made me write the foreword to the new edition. It stinks.
It's good. It's good, chat.
It's terrible.
You can get the 20th anniversary edition. I recommend that one.
Yeah.
It's got Matt's writing in it. Yeah.
Yeah, just the beginning. But yeah, it's not a style of writing I'm used to doing. So, but yeah, it was just one of these things where
came across as very approachable and like.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I cracked a beer and just started writing. I mean, honestly, I was on a really tight deadline and. I just was like, maybe this will be good enough, and luckily they, there's some at that press, and they kind of took the stream of consciousness that I gave them and turned it into something.
Writing like you talk is good for nonfiction.
Yeah. That's what I had to try to get in that mode for. Yeah.
A cool Pittsburgh, Wyoming connection is that Tom Ray's family is from Pennsylvania, but he lives here in Casper.
Right, he talks about that in the book,
exactly.
I think. Yeah.
He's really deeply connected to Wyoming, and it's his
Yeah. Wyoming's a cool state, it's. Yeah.
It's massive.
It's big, yeah. It's definitely bigger than Pennsylvania, but not as big as California. Not as many people as California either.
I'm excited on my trip. I'm going to go to the Devil's Tower.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very nice. What's that?
Not as many people as Pennsylvania. But
yeah, I think Wyoming doesn't have as many people as
all
49 other
it's
states.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Not even the greater Pittsburgh area.
No.
It's not even close.
No.
I think Pittsburgh itself is only about 300,000, I want to say. Maybe a little more.
Really?
Yeah.
The city limits themselves, not the metro.
Yeah,
the city
metro
limits
areas
is within the county for some
the 5 county
reason.
area is about 1.5 million, I want to say.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could easily fit the population of Wyoming.
Yeah, I don't know what it is now, but last I knew the population of Wyoming was somewhere under 500,000 people.
I think
total.
somebody can look it up, but yeah. 587,000. Thank you, Dangerous.
Okay, so it has
Buttons.
grown some, at least. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's grown by about 100,000 since I looked it up last.
Smallest state population-wise in the whole U.S.
Accommodate them all.
the Dollar Mall?
Yeah, in our Airbnb.
Greater Pittsburgh area.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, would increase the population by 25%.
Yeah.
Oh, and Cryptstick says if you go on Amazon, you can read Matt's forward to Bone Wars. Don't do that. Buy the book.
I don't get royalties, but thank you.
Okay, well, just read it on Amazon.
Presumably, Tom gets royalties. I do not.
It's a really well-written book. Like I would highly recommend it. I don't say that often. The prose is excellent. Yeah.
It really gets in the weeds, like to the point where I've read it probably 3 times and I still don't remember all the details that Tom unearths with it. So, yeah, if you like, Yeah, if you're interested in the history of paleontology, it's kind of the second great American dinosaur rush.
Yeah.
You know, it's that, you know, beyond, after Cope and Marsh, there was this competition between the AMH, you know, so the American Museum of Natural History, the Field Museum in Chicago, and then the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh, kind of racing for dinosaurs in the American West, and it's kind of that era. There's another great book by Paul Brinkman called The Second Jurassic Dinosaur Rush, I think. And that's also about that same, same period in history.
Nice. I haven't read.
Cover's got like a kind of iguana-looking, standing in a, you know, like looking up at a second story, or not second story, but a tall.
I know the
building.
illustration. Yeah. Yeah, there was that book that I was reading last summer when we were out here. Oh shoot, what was it called? But it's about Dippy the Diplodocus and.
Ilya Newland's book.
Yeah. What was it called again?
American Dinosaur Abroad.
An American Dinosaur Abroad. There we go. Yeah.
Andrew Carnegie selling copies to all his friends in Europe.
Exactly. Yeah. So this book goes into great
fantastic.
detail about that, and it's the first book of its kind to do that. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, that was actually based on, I want to say Ilya's PhD thesis was in, you know, like history of science, and that was I think the book version of his thesis, I want to say.
Nice, yeah.
It's good, yeah. And again, well written too.
Yeah.
The letters to the Tsar, and so like, I can hook you up. All right.
So we're talking about Dippy the Diplodocus because that's one of the star dinosaur attractions at the Carnegie Museum, where Matt is curator.
Oh yeah, we should do a little plug for Dino Fest if anybody's in the area.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what is that? June 14th?
Yep.
June 14th. If you're on the East Coast, make a trek over to the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh.
Even if you're not on the East Coast, we've got an airport.
There you go. Yeah. If you're incarcerated, break out. Go to Dino Fest, the Carnegie Museum.
File a habeas petition on your behalf and get you out.
There you go. Week. Yeah. Lauren will hook you up. Yeah. But we're probably going to do like a live stream broadcast there, which should be pretty. I'll tell you more about that later, chat. It'll be fun. Yeah. 430 people watching right now.
Wow.
Not too shabby. A little fewer than yesterday, but it's still early. 4 p.m. Deathsaur says, I'll walk from New York City to Dino Fest.
Got plenty of time. Should be able to make it.
And thank you, Charlie's Dragon, for putting the link in there. Beautiful. I appreciate that. Yeah. And might head up from Maryland. Very cool, Moxie Drinker. Nice. Yeah. And 14th of June, next Saturday? It's not next Saturday already, is it? It's what, like the 4th today?
Yeah, it's next week.
It's next week? Shoot. Wow.
Right. I don't know. I lose track of time out here.
Like 10 days or something like that.
Yeah. We got a question. What got you guys into paleontology? From Cryptstick. I can, I guess, answer that first. When I was a small child, I was very interested in dinosaurs and wanted to grow up to be a dinosaur. And when I realized I couldn't do that, I decided to do the next best thing and become a paleontologist. So here we are. Yeah. What about you, Eric? What got you into paleo?
So I was always into dinosaurs, and when I got to college, I had an opportunity to go out to Utah on a dig.
Nice.
So I did, and just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And been coming here ever since.
Awesome.
4 years now.
Yeah.
First year in Almond, but
What'd you start out in again?
Utah. Morse information.
Which subject were you studying before?
Oh, geology.
Okay, geology.
Nice. How about you, Nick? Did you lose a bet?
Yeah, I did. I pulled the short end of the stick. I saw Jurassic Park when I was about 3 years old.
It's the right time to see it.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
I fell in love with the movie and the science behind it, and ever since I wanted to become a paleontologist. pretty sure my first word was Dilophosaurus. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm pretty sure that was my first word.
That was one of my favorite dinosaurs when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
And not the Jurassic Park one. I love the legit Dilophosaurus.
There's this one illustration that I was like obsessed with when I was a kid, and it was a Dilophosaurus on a beach with waves crashing around it, and it's wrestling with a plesiosaur. And there's like blood coming out of the plesiosaur's neck and stuff, and I was just enthralled by
I think I know
this.
that picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
It's from like the Colossal Book of Dinosaurs or one of those ones. They're like little storybooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that have any basis in scientific anything?
No.
I was gonna
Plesiosaurs,
say,
for one thing,
like,
didn't.
Wait,
Yeah.
how would that work? Yeah, so it wouldn't.
So for one thing, like at the time, well, in the story, a plesiosaur comes up onto the beach to lay her eggs.
Like a turtle?
Like a sea turtle, yeah. We now know they didn't do that because they gave birth to live young.
Yeah.
So they would have spent their entire lives in the ocean.
I wonder if they thought that because of the flippers.
Yeah.
Maybe
that was the thought, yeah.
Huh.
And that's kind of like a cliche almost. It's a trope, like having plesiosaurs haul themselves onto the beach, and then there's a waiting theropod there just ready to.
Although if a walrus can do it, why couldn't a plesiosaur, right? I mean, like.
I don't know. Well, so do walruses give birth on land, don't they?
Give birth.
Yeah.
Walruses and elephant seals. The seal in New Zealand, like hanging out.
Yeah. They're probably better
Physiologically.
set up for moving around on land than plesiosaurs, though.
That's true. Yeah, because they could at least make that inchworm.
Exactly. Yeah.
motion.
They've got the dorsal-ventral flexion that mammals do.
Whereas
Yeah.
a plesiosaur wouldn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only mammals have that. Really?
And inchworms and
Well, yeah.
who else? But yeah, reptiles generally they move laterally.
That's right.
Yeah.
Crocodile. Huh.
Yeah. So that's why like a dolphin's tail fluke is horizontal
Yes.
and an ichthyosaur is vertical.
Caudal
Yep.
fin.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Might be
Is
on
there a
fire.
Wookiee out here?
Wookies?
Yeah. Oh, by Andrew Howitt. That is the artist there, Murph. Yes, that's the illustration.
Nice.
If you've got a link, post it in the chat, and yeah.
I think we might have to gypsona this. This looks like a whole new big bone coming out.
Yikes.
Pretty cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the illustration right there. Good work, Murph. Holy cow. Yeah, I can show everybody.
I wanna see it,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and it's like it's an oil painting. Yeah. Let's see. Move around here. This one?
Oh wow, a lot going on there.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
You
Yeah,
can see how like
yeah.
a kid would see this and be like, "Oh, my
totally.
god."
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, the illustrations in those stories are like very hit or miss. Like even from the same author, it'll be like on one page the Dilophosaurus looks awesome, and on the next page it's like, what's going on with its head? But that one in particular was, yeah, it was a.
One of my favorite Instagram accounts is called Incorrect Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I follow them as well.
Okay, excellent. So it posts pictures from like old school paleontology books
Oh.
and stuff. And they're often like really ridiculous. Like
I'm sure that is a rich vein to
yeah,
to mine. there,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite so far has been this one from like it was not even really a dinosaur book. It's like some kind of like I want to say like encyclopedia or something, but they have Dimetrodon. It's called Dimtrodon.
Dimtrodon.
And they have like a bunch of like cavemen attacking it.
Oh no.
My favorite is the Parasaurolophus breathing fire on a
Yeah.
Dinosaurus.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that
I have
one.
that
Yeah.
book. That's from a creationist book.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh, maybe they breathed fire, and maybe they're actually dragons.
Because why not?
Exactly. Yeah.
My favorite is just the OG, the unicorn.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the one with the Brachiosaurus neck deep in the water. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yeah, by Burian. Yeah. Famous painting. Yeah, iconic.
Dimtrodon.
Dimtrodon.
Was that the same that had like a flying ankylosaur?
I don't think so. Flying ankylosaur. Does it have wings, or it's just like spinning its tail like a helicopter?
Like Gamera, dude. It flies like Gamera.
It spins like a frisbee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had like pseudo wings or something.
Huh. Yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with that. Although Jim Kirkland talks about finding an ankylosaur and naming it Gamera.
Oh,
Having
I like
that be
it.
the genus name, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a turtle named after Gamera.
Yeah, is Gamera Kelly's, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of monster stuff, did you hear that there's a new radiodont named after Mothra? Did you see that?
No.
Oh, it's called Mothra Letidon or something. Starts with an L.
Somebody
Named
pull it
after
up in
the
the
guy.
chat, yeah.
And it has 3 eyeballs or 3 eye
Oh, that's cool.
complexes.
Wow.
Huh.
And I love the artist rendition because it uses Mothra's colors.
Light, nice.
But it's as big as your thumb.
Big as my thumb.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
It's super,
So,
super
yeah,
small.
so
Pretty small for
kinda like
even for a
baby
radiodont,
Mothra.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Mothra.
one way to win a fight with Godzilla. It just can't see you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Mothra, I think Mothra was
Ant-Man
usually his buddy,
theory.
wasn't
Oh
it?
yeah, they were
Yeah,
on the
I mean,
same
Sometimes,
team.
yeah, they've got a
It was kind of
complicated
like
relationship.
frenemies, kind of.
Yeah.
Honor Draco says, my turtle is named Gamera.
So
Good
is
name.
Nick.
Is that your brother?
Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was gonna say, oh, okay, that makes sense because I was like, so is Nick's. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Shannon. Gamera. You know Gamera's theme song?
Yeah, from MST3K.
What?
Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's
Yeah.
what Danny just referenced.
You don't know that one?
I don't know that one.
Yeah, they have a Gamera song too.
I just know the one from like '67. Unless that's the same one.
Oh. No, it's well they might be it might be their take on the song that they're kind of making fun of it as they do, you know. Are you familiar with Mystery Science Theater 3000? No, really?
Never
Yeah.
heard of it.
Wow, they stream on Twitch actually. There's
Oh, I
an
didn't know
MST3K
that.
channel, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like I think it's 24/7.
It is crazy, but I don't watch Twitch, so I don't know.
Yeah. But it was a television program that started in like the late 80s or early 90s in like Wisconsin, I think.
Okay.
And so the
I
premise
guess I always
is
sort of assumed it was British just because of the way.
no,
the
it's
humor
very
is.
it's
Okay,
very
all right.
Midwestern,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, upper Midwest through
Okay.
and through. But it's like a super low budget like local access TV show. But they've got these robot puppets and then they'll like play an old movie. And then there's like the silhouettes of like chairs at the front, like you're in a movie theater.
Yeah.
And then you see the like robot puppets, and then there's a human guy too. And then they're just making fun of the movie the whole time.
Right.
So you're watching the movie, and you're also like listening to them riff on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty good if you like that kind of thing. It was like a cult classic.
Yes.
It became like a cultural phenomenon. And they've had like a Netflix revival recently. Was it with Felicia Day, I think? Somebody in chat would know. But, yeah, lots of love for MST3K going on in the chat right now, yeah. Yeah, I think Felicia Day also streams on Twitch. I her last summer. But, yeah. Yeah, and Golgan X got the song there, yeah, Gamera song. But yeah, Geeks Tour says, it's like Beavis and Butthead on MTV watching music videos, but way better. I like that, yeah. Yeah.
Washing the dog. Washing the dog. Washing the dog.
I don't
Washing
think
the
I know
dog.
that one. Is that Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah, I think they put the dog in a washing machine, and they start.
Oh,
And
man.
they start singing "Washing the Dog" to "Breaking the Law," by Judas Priest. Like breaking the law, breaking the law. Sorry.
That's so dumb.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I love it.
Yeah, yeah. No, two of my roommates back in Montana, we would call them Beavis and Butthead sometimes, and they actually did a really good Beavis and Butthead impression.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you do one?
No, but they did. Shout out to Jack Wilson and Jacob Gardner, who are both now
Oh yeah.
accomplished paleontologists.
Uh-huh,
Yeah. Jack Wilson, for whom Daspletosaurus wilsoni is named, and Jacob Gardner just published a new paper on Troodon the other day.
Cool.
So yeah.
Don't
I was wondering how that worked.
Ironically,
Like, if you
really
ended up rooming with civilians, like,
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
what would you have to talk about? Oh no.
No, it was great. Like that's why we moved in together. Is like, I don't know, sometimes we'd like go hang out and just be talking like long into the night about this or that paleontological subject, and we're like, why don't we just get an apartment together? We'd be staying up until like 3 a.m. talking about like the origin of life, or like ceratopsian phylogeny, or like whatever. It was a lot of fun.
It's like my spouse is into this stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would be challenging. Somebody who wasn't. Like, what is the point of any of it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Puggo Wuggo says, my glorious goat, Troodon, might be valid again. Yeah. There's a petition right now that the ICZN should be hearing, trying to, preserve the name. There's a neotype being named for Troodon. So that
probably Stenonychosaurus.
Instead of Stenonychosaurus. Or, yeah, because Stenonychosaurus is also based on really kind of garbage material.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. And same with Latinovenatrix, I think, or however you say that. Yeah. But yeah. Anyhow, we've got an in-joke in my chat where, I don't know, people say Tradoon because there was this video that we were watching one time. Have I told you about this?
I feel like you did. It's ringing a bell.
Yeah. It was like just some person, like a list of like the top 10 weirdest looking dinosaurs.
Tradoon!
Number 8 was Troodon.
And no. I mean, A for effort. Yeah.
So that's, there go all the Tradoon emotes there. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I've heard Troodon pronounced a bunch of different ways, but never like that. And I think
Tradoon.
Yeah, I've definitely heard it like as in like the opposite of false, like true.
Troodon, yeah.
Truodon.
Yeah. Or Truodon, Troodon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move over there just because I'm.
Isn't it spelled, or you used to spell those little
I
dots?
can't. I don't have a.
But that was never.
I can't.
It was always in books.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, I forget the name of that too.
I'm gonna get water,
but that
and you can come this way.
That was never intended.
I'm just gonna go over there.
It was like book editors would do that.
It's not an umlaut, is it?
It's not quite an umlaut. It's something else. Somebody in the chat. What's the double? There are some publications that do that with like any double O word, like the word cooperate. The New Yorker in particular.
Yeah, their style guide.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's really so pretentious. It really is, right?
Oh,
yeah.
That's so bad.
Yeah. But yeah, diaresis. I think that's it there. Yeah, diaresis.
Sounds like a disease.
And C Therion says, you guys ever work in the dark under UV light? Easier to detect bone materials, especially smaller bones.
That's an interesting thought, but no.
I don't know if it would work with fossil bones after they've been permineralized.
No, I think there are some permineralized bones that fluoresce under UV light.
Oh no, shoot! No, there totally are.
Right.
Yeah. No, when I was at
Oh.
in February at the Museum of Denver,
I tell you.
we were looking at some of the reconstructed specimens, and so we turned off all the lights and we had a black light there, or UV light, and you could tell what was plaster and
Oh, that's cool.
what was resin and what was actual bone.
Yeah.
So Denver was like, if anybody ever wants to buy a dinosaur at auction, or if you're like at the Gem and Mineral
Bring
Show
a
or
black
whatever,
light. Yeah.
bring that and see the vendors there quake in their boots.
Don't worry, this is just my UV goggles.
So yeah, that is actually a good point. Yeah. Diaresis. Okay, thank you there, Slug Biker, for the pronunciation. Yeah.
Now it sounds like a very beautiful word.
I think one of the things I like about these streams is like chat learns from us, but we learn from chat.
Absolutely, yeah.
They have the power of the internet.
Yeah, people can look things up right then and there, which I usually do too when I'm back in my office streaming. But when you've got 440 people watching, like
yeah, why not crowdsource it?
It's the wisdom of crowds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or they're just there to fact check you, to make you wrong.
Yeah.
Waiting for you to slip up.
Oh yeah. And I'm grateful for it,
Yeah, and I think this crowd tends to be really friendly too,
Oh, for sure. We make sure of that. Anybody who's
Yeah.
nasty, we give them the boot.
What do you do to a soccer ball?
Salty Murloc says, chat learns from us, and we learn from the stuff chat makes up.
There you go.
No, I think it's the other way around. Is chat, we learn from chat, and chat learns from the stuff we make up, or at least me.
Let's see here.
Dude, I'm thinking that this might be a gypsum or maybe even a separate jacket.
Yes. Is there enough clearance around it that you can?
Not yet. I'm still working away, but
Yeah.
this is all boom.
All right, let me take a look. Yeah, and then Defsaurus was saying in the chat, that's how they originally prepped Seismosaurus. They used UV light because the rock and the bone were so similar looking.
Maybe that's what we need here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all
That's an interesting thought. We'd have to come here in like the middle of the night.
Yeah, the other issue is we'd have to lug a generator up here to have a power source, probably, because I don't think the solar panels would probably cut it, right? I mean, I guess maybe for a while.
For a UV light?
Yeah.
I've got my Scorpion light back in camp.
Oh.
I wonder if that would be high enough quality for...
Let's see.
This bone here? I'm not
Sounds-
too
it
sure.
feels like
Like there's
bone,
bone on the side.
Yeah.
In here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think, oh yeah, in here.
What about this up here?
I don't. There's like a trench.
Oh yeah, weird.
So-
That's so soft in there. Huh.
This is very strange.
It's not an easy sight.
Like, people tell what's rock and what's bone. It's not like we're in the Gobi.
Yeah, that would be
I
great.
still love this.
The rock is red and the bone is
It's
just
white. Yeah.
like bleached white.
I kind of wonder if this
Not-
connects to up there, because that looks very similar. That almost
Oh.
looks like a safe.
That would be interesting. Huh. I don't know. Oh, and Deathsaurus, I think I know exactly the book that you're talking about. It's just called Seismosaurus, right? And it's got that
Oh, by Mark
Hallett
Hallett,
painting.
or not? Is it by Mark Hallett, or it has Mark Hallett illustrations in it, or maybe it is by him? I
I
don't
want
remember.
to say the cover is Mark Hallett.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's Dave Gillette wrote it.
Yes, that sounds right.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He passed away not too long ago.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Starma says, are there any technologies you're looking for that could help with digs? Sure. Dippin' Dots technology.
Ice cream of the future.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think that remote sensing has a future in paleontology, the way that it really revolutionized archaeology.
Huh.
But nobody has cracked the code. But I think someday probably we'll get better at seeing bones in the ground, and whoever does that will take some of the fun out of paleontology, but they'll also find a great deal of stuff. So
You really think that'll be attainable in the future?
I think
I've got my doubts. I
I
don't know.
think one thing that you never say as a scientist is that is impossible. You know what I mean? Like I think
Fair?
that,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that, we walk around with supercomputers in our pockets now that would have been unthinkable probably 25 years ago. Yeah. So, it's, hopefully there's a lot of time left for humanity to invent stuff. And,
We'll see. Shoot.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
right
I mean,
things are
and
going.
there's already been some promising developments with remote sensing. Like, speaking of Seismosaurus, that's where that famous scene in Jurassic Park comes from, with them shooting a shotgun blast into the ground and looking for bones via the reverberations. I mean, of course, the whole Velociraptor skeleton appears on the screen.
Right, yeah.
That's not how it works. But there was at least a little bit of promise with that. That type of technology, and people have achieved limited results with ground penetrating radar for dinosaurs, and of course there's also
Radiation.
I was going to say,
yeah.
yep, exactly. So
Yeah,
some dinosaur bones are radioactive, not to the point where we're all going to be sterile, but but they are, and you can use Geiger counters, scintillometers, that kind of stuff to find them in the ground, and that's. I think I want to say it's the holotype of Allosaurus Jim Madsoni the skull might have been found that way. It's some really beautiful Allosaurus that was missing the head, and they found the head, they did a, kind of a Geiger counter survey.
I thought that was the sonic imaging one.
I feel like it's radio. I feel like it's radioactivity. I could be
because
wrong.
Animantarx was discovered
with radioactivity. Yes, exactly,
yeah.
and that's why Raymall Jones. Why it's named after Raymall Jones. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Animantarx is an ankylosaur from the Cedar Mountain Formation.
You're just talking about this. The really cool name.
Yeah, it's one of the best names ever. I think Animate Fortress. Is what it means.
Yeah, living
fortress. Yeah. Yep.
Jim named that, I think.
It was either Jim or Ken Carpenter. I can't remember who. Probably Jim. I think. There was a time when I knew all these things off the top of my head, but that time is long past.
I remember Jim saying, like, "Yep, this is the first dinosaur ever found using modern technology." About Animantarx.
Yeah. No, it's a really remarkable story, and it's a. And it does. I think it does show that there is promise for remote sensing in paleontology. Although, again,
I like that you're optimistic about that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. A breakthrough that's coming in field paleontology. I don't have any inside info that lets me believe that.
I don't know. The way that I look at it, like, we'll be the last folks to get it once it's developed. Like, it'll be used for oil and gas exploration.
Totally.
Like all these other things.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too. Yeah. Just like, GPS technology has been around a lot longer than it's been available to people.
The story about that's, quite terrible. It was the Korean Air crash, the Soviet Union. And then to avoid any such future incidents like that, Ronald Reagan gave orders to make it available to the world.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, they ended up in Soviet airspace and they didn't know.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wait, this was GPS that was distributed? Like, what technology was it?
GPS.
GPS.
It was a U.S. military technology that was made available.
Right, and then Russia was developing their own, right, which is GLONASS, I think, right? And they're both available to everyone now, basically.
And then there was like a European Union one, too,
Oh, is there? Okay.
I want to say there's 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think China has one as well.
I actually didn't know that story. I remember when I was a kid, I remember thinking like we were going to go to nuclear war with Russia,
Yeah, it was scary.
we were,
I was a little bit too young to remember.
I think it was 1983, I want to say, so I would have been 8.
I was born in '83.
I was going to say you would have been like 0. Yeah.
I do remember the Challenger disaster.
Yeah, oh, you would have been 3 probably for that, right? Yep. I was in elementary school, and I remember our principal came in and she didn't know what the space shuttle was called. She just said something like, the spaceship crashed or fell out of the sky or blew up or something, and I remember being like, what is she talking about? And then, because if she had said space shuttle, I probably would have known what she was talking about.
Right,
Yeah. Oddly phrased.
Yeah.
Dr. Nozimo, I think you are correct in your reasoning there.
What is the...
I've been wondering if a 1 to 2 gigahertz ground-penetrating radar could help characterize sites like this one, where the fossilized bones are a lower density matrix. They're in a lower density matrix. It would probably require a very lengthy survey and 3D processing to obtain anything useful, so probably not worth it for the relatively short time frame of a dig. I mean, and here too, it's like there's a ton of rock concreted around the bones. There's like sometimes the bone is in this kind of the softer stuff near the surface, but then you've got matrix that seems to be pretty much the same density as the bone. So
I mean,
every site is going to be different.
And I would say it's not. Yeah, I mean, if it does work, it's not going to work everywhere, probably. You know, just like there are archaeological sites where magnetometry, resistivity, GPR, they work really well, and other ones where they don't. You know.
I don't know. I usually have very flippant, snide answers anytime somebody in chat
talks about remote sensing. When
we talk about ground penetrating radar.
I'm actually quite. I think that again, it's a relatively recent technology. I think it's only going to get better, and I think the challenge is it works with archaeology because you're looking for solid, often right-angle structures in mud.
What's essentially soil.
Exactly. Yeah. But basically, what it's doing is it's looking for density differences, and in many paleontological sites, there probably would be density differences between the bone and the surrounding rock. So if you can fine-tune the equipment enough to figure it out, then I don't see a reason why it wouldn't work.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's not, again, probably not going to work all the time, and it'll work at some places better than others. But right now we're not there. But I think I wouldn't say that we'll never get there. I think it's quite possible that we will get there at some point. To a degree, at least.
We won't even have to dig anymore.
Nick. That's right. At this point, we won't have to dig anymore.
What's the fun in that?
I know, but sometimes I think about, like, you know, how great would it be to, you know, I don't know, go to some place where you've got really limited time and, you know, like, you know, instead of spending time, you know, hunting for stuff, you spend time, you know, quickly finding it and then getting it out of the ground, you know?
Greg Paul wrote a chapter about this in his Scientific American Book of Dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah? About remote sensing in paleontology?
Oh, about just like technological advancements and how they'll make paleontologists obsolete.
Oh, God.
That was essentially.
Was that?
I remember reading this when I was like 10 years old and being like, oh my God, like, you know, there was a.
Your days are numbered.
Exactly, yeah. So he has this. He's like imagining this scenario where there's like a robotic paleontologist that shows up to a collections and it's just like scanning each and every fossil and putting them into a database. Like, you know, the human paleontologists they're as obsolete as the prosauropods that they're studying.
Nice.
I remember reading this and just being like, it was just that sense of dread just overwhelmed me.
So I do have a good friend who's also in Pittsburgh. She's at Carnegie Mellon University. She's my academic sister, so she got her PhD from the same program as me.
Nice.
Her name's Asia Carter, and she studies paleorobotics.
Oh,
actually.
her work is awesome.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, you would have met her before, probably, right? Or at least seen her
I've
talk.
seen her present.
Yeah. And so she'll be like, you know, like those dinosaur tracks that are on a vertical cliff face in Bolivia. You know, we could make a robot that would scale that and like take pictures. I mean, and she's not joking. That's
really cool.
Yeah.
The soil.
We've got a question in chat I don't want to neglect. What's your opinion on the alleged tyrannosaur from the Ojo, Alamo, and Javelina formations? I don't really have an opinion on that. I don't really know.
Oh,
anything.
like what taxon it is, or I want to say there's definitely tyrannosaur material from the Javelina.
I want to say I've heard the same thing.
Yeah, Ojo, Alamo, I don't remember, but it's not to say that I'm really out of the loop with the literature right now.
Is that where Ohoceratops is from?
I would assume so, yeah.
So it's what, like late, it's like early Maastrichtian or something?
That sounds right, but yeah, don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I'm more southern hemisphere stuff, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's, I don't know if it's from the Javelina or whether it's thought to be, it was described, I want to say, as from the Tornillo Formation in Texas. There's a maxilla that's been kicking around for a while. It's in the collections of the University of Texas at Austin. It's a maxilla that, I mean, to me, I'm not a Tyrannosaurid expert, but it doesn't look exactly like your garden variety T-Rex to me. But it's often been, you know, just assumed to be that. So it could be another taxon of Tyrannosaurus or some closely related thing potentially.
This isn't. That wasn't the one that was described as T. macraensis, was it?
No, I think that's different because that's
okay.
McRae Formation's New Mexico.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is definitely from Texas. I do remember that much. And it's in. It was described, I want to say, in like the 70s, maybe by Doug Lawson. I want to say. But it's just a maxilla, just an isolated maxilla, but it's nicely preserved. It seems to indicate an animal with maybe a shorter snout than your garden variety T-Rex, but I think it's generally considered to be a T-Rex, but it, you know, conceivably might not be.
Interesting.
But again, you're, you know, kind of, you know, I think anything beyond that is, I would just be guesstimating.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's Tyrannosaur material from the Ojo Alamo, but I don't know off the top of my head what it is.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if there weren't Tyrannosaur material,
Exactly.
like they didn't live there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Question for the whole quarry from Niffler. They want a dinosaur-related name for a female dog. Go. Maya would be a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Dinosaur-related name.
Cloaca.
What's that?
Cloaca.
Cloaca. That's a callback from yesterday's stream.
There's a beautiful sound to it.
Yeah. It is a pretty sounding word if you don't know what it means.
Rex is both classic and agender, I
Yep.
believe.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Archaeornithomimus. That's a good one.
Pisticellacaudia.
Yeah.
Micropachycephalosaurus hongtuensis. I don't know, one name, I don't think it's a valid genus of Oviraptorosaur, but one name that is kind of a, oh no, this is a, well, no, I don't know. Like a pretty I mean, not that the dog's name has to be pretty, because it's female, but like, you know, but a pretty sounding dinosaur name is Ingenia. Remember the Oviraptor Ingenia? Yeah.
From Mongolia.
Which I don't know if it's still considered to be valid, but
I think it is.
Yeah.
Do we have more information about the dog breed?
Oh yeah,
that might be relevant.
That's a good
like,
point.
Does it look like? Is it one of those like ceratopsian type dogs, like a bulldog? It's like like a protoceratops. That might be good.
This actually reminds me of a game that Mandy and I have made up called Drug or Dinosaur. And so I say a dinosaur name or a drug name, and she has to guess which one it is.
This reminds me. I think I told this story the other day, but at the Dead Lizard Society meeting back in Montana in I think 2013 or something like that, there was a paper about a tyrannosaur from Utah, pretty early tyrannosaur. They named it Lythronax. And Denver Fowler is making fun of the name. He's like, it sounds like a pharmaceutical drug.
I want to say maybe Drug or Dinosaur came from you telling me about
Really?
that. That's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
You might have incepted me there. I feel like I came up with it myself, but now that I think about it, it might have been that.
Because the commercial, it was. Has Laramidia got you feeling isolated? Ask your doctor if Lythronax is right for you.
There's a commercial for a drug for chronic kidney disease that comes on when Mandy and I are watching Andor all the time that drives me completely crazy. It's called Jardiance, the drug, and it's got a really poorly computer-generated turtle. I can't stand it. I have to leave the room when it's on.
What kind of turtle?
It's just a turtle.
Like a pond turtle?
Yeah, it's a stylized turtle. I mean, his plastron is actually like a pair of tights that moves when he moves.
Oh, no.
It's pretty grotesque. Yeah. I mean, people I'm sure have seen it and are, yeah. Honk if you've ruined my Andor experience, and I don't even have CKD. Let's think,
Oh, that's funny.
But one of the drug or dinosaur names that I always throw out is Oxoko.
Which is wait, hang on. That's an Abelisaur, right?
No, it's an Oviraptorosaur. But some people guess drug.
Is it an Oviraptorosaur?
Yeah.
From Mongolia?
Yeah.
Okay. There are a lot of weird, or they don't have Saurus in the name. At least Oviraptorosaur name is
I'm guilty too.
Khan,
obviously. Yeah. There's a trend here. Yeah.
Eric Morshauser loves Khan. He always goes, it's Khan.
Yeah. And who else? Hyuania?
Yeah, exactly. And Ingenia, which we just talked about.
Yeah. What's the one?
Anzu, obviously.
Nomingia?
Nomingia, yeah, with the Pygostyle. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's got to be other ones too.
City Putty.
Yeah.
Or Chitty Potty or
City Piatti. Yeah.
To me, that sounds like sitting on a potty. You know what I mean? I don't love the name.
But yeah, the funeral pyre lord, I think is what
cool.
the name means.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Metacarpus or a Pygostyle?
Pygostyle.
Yeah.
We practically have one
one
anyway.
already.
Yeah, the coccyx is basically a Pygostyle.
That's true.
Just without the feather attachments.
Yeah, Carpometacarpus would, I don't know, kind of, I guess they can still move their digits. Yeah, they just would have restricted wrist mobility, I think, a little bit, maybe.
I guess I got that already.
Yeah. Did you break your wrist at one point?
My right wrist.
Yeah.
I can't supinate. Hold the soup, as B would say.
Hold the soup?
Hold the soup.
Oh, I would love to see B as a professor. That's got to be awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was sweet. So I should tell him to come to Dino Fest. So if he's.
I actually almost invited him, but we've run out of space. So maybe next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the shark Cretoxyrhina sounds like a drug. It does. Yeah, it totally does.
Yeah, especially if you've got a sinus infection or something, or allergies, seasonal, seasonal allergies got you down. Take Cretoxyrhina.
Have you been bitten by seasonal allergies? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting that, yeah.
People are saying that City Patty sounds like either a bank or a squatty potty.
Yeah, that's the squatty potties, I think, what's in my brain. Yeah, ever since I saw the commercial with the unicorn pooping out ice cream, Have you ever seen this? It's Squatty Potty commercial. It's horrible. Yeah, don't ever.
I don't watch a lot of commercials.
Okay,
yeah.
well,
I got Twitch Turbo. I don't have to watch ads.
Okay, all right. Well,
Reluctant to ask.
what's that?
I don't
What
know
is the
this
Squatty
product,
Potty?
and I'm reluctant to ask.
It's
a
like a
little
little stool that you put in front of your toilet that you kind of like. It keeps your legs up so you're propped up on the toilet, and I guess it's better for your bowel movement posture. Yeah.
I'm not sold on the idea, but
Same.
Ios and Lordy have them at home. Yeah. Anywho, yeah.
Squatty potty plus bidet combo. That'd be insane.
We've got that at home. Yeah. Yeah.
You
You
have
should
both?
come visit. Yeah.
It'd have to be as high as the fountain.
Oh, SB, thank you for this. Appreciate that. I need to be more responsive to these. But, yeah. For optimal extrusion. Exactly, yeah. Using like 3D printer terms here. Yeah. Oh, Lordy says, I heard my name from across the room. What's Danny accusing me of now? Lordy, the squatty potties that we've got. Yeah, you've got. It's not my idea. I always push it to the side. Yeah. I don't need
a
help.
little glimpse into Danny's home life. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
What you working on over there, Matt?
Nothing. I just was getting out of the way because I didn't want to kick dirt in your face.
And Chaotic Time Traveler just spent another day in the lab at the Philip J. Curry Dinosaur Museum. Very nice. I hope it went well.
Grand Prairie, Alberta.
Yeah.
Shout out to Grand Prairie.
Nice.
Home to, or nearby, is the Pipestone Creek bone bed, which yields Pachyrhinosaurus leucostai, one of the coolest ceratopsians there is.
I think that's where this chatter is going to be digging.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Good job, Eric.
Thank you.
Matt, Eric's been doing such a good job here for his first time.
I agree. He's doing great.
First time in the Cretaceous.
This guy's dug up a whole Diplodocus before.
Oh, really?
Single-handedly, remember?
Whole. We only have like.
It's a sauropod, you know. That's still pretty good.
Yeah, that's
8 femur.
That's big for a diplodocid. Especially a diplodocene like that.
What are the average?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I mean not that much. I mean 5'8" is.
Oh, Urban Cowboy, thanks for being here. Thank you for your question earlier too.
5'8".
Good stuff.
7 inches shorter than the Dreadnoughtus holotype, so that's up there in terms of long sauropod femora.
Where is the Dreadnoughtus holotype?
It is currently in, well, it will always be, it was in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh when we were preparing it and studying it, but we sent it back to Argentina, so it's now in the town of Rio Gallegos in Santa Cruz province in Argentina.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, we had a question earlier about like laws protecting fossils and that kind of thing. You spend a lot of time in Argentina. What kind of laws do they have to protect?
Extremely strict compared to most countries, including our own.
Yeah.
So basically all fossils belong to. Not only do they belong to the people, so to speak, they actually belong to the province. So it's really difficult to get things even out of provinces in Argentina.
Is that true in Canada as well? I know you can't take Canadian fossils out of Canada, but I don't know whose they are.
I don't know if they can take them between different. They're provinces in Canada, right?
Yeah. I actually don't.
Yeah, provincial government. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, I mean, I would guess that probably stuff can be loaned between provinces, but I would doubt, you know, it might not be able to be removed permanently. I mean, certainly back in the day, that was possible because, you know, there's lots and lots and lots of Alberta dinosaur material in Toronto and New York. And but yeah, I don't know if it is now, and that might be why, you know, the beautiful Tyrrell Museum in Drumheller, Alberta exists. You know, it might have something to do with that. So.
That's kind of a cool thing about Argentina with all of the provinces maintaining ownership of the fossils. Then you have to travel to each province to see different dinosaurs.
That is pretty neat.
The local, you know, who belongs where, sort of.
Yeah. I was talking with Nate Carroll about that, of the Carter County Museum in Ekalaka, Montana.
Yeah.
And, you know, he always wanted to create, you know, establish an actual repository there, like a facility where fossils can, you know, stay there in
can
perpetuity.
stuff not be reposited at the Carter County Museum?
It can be.
Oh, it can.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah.
what I thought.
No, that's
Yeah.
a fairly new development.
Okay.
Like post 2012 or something like that. Which shoot, that's 2012. That's 30 years ago now. I can't believe it.
Hey.
But but he was concerned that like all of these other museums across the U.S. have all of these beautiful fossils from Carter County, and he's like, I want to establish a museum here where, you know, we can keep the stuff here in Carter County.
Yeah.
And they've been doing a really good job of that. So shout out to Nate Carroll and the Carter County Museum.
Yeah.
I think the Dino Shindig should be coming up before too long.
And Nate and his wife are expecting a child. They just put.
Oh, are they really?
They just put it on Instagram.
Oh my goodness!
Yep.
Congratulations to them, Nate and Saber.
Yep.
Having a baby. That is
Yep.
amazing.
Yep. Just put it on Instagram the other day.
Wow. Shoot, that's awesome. Yeah. What?
Some matrix landed in the wrong spot.
Oh, okay. I was afraid you got hurt. I heard that you laugh when you get hurt.
Fine. So far. Still have a few days to go.
Yeah. Oh, and Chaotic Time Traveler says, I will be going to Pipestone Creek on Friday.
Awesome.
Very,
this
very
year,
cool.
But I barely
Yeah.
broke the skin. Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Emily Bamforth's talk on the Pipestone Creek Pachyrhinosaurs at SVP.
Oh, nice. When the
Really
the
cool
most
stuff.
recent
I have no
SVP.
idea.
Yeah.
They must
Yeah,
have left
unfortunately,
it
I
over
wasn't
there.
there.
Yeah, I was looking for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you showed up in the abstract volume.
No, I
would've
think
checked
I was a co-author on a few of them, but including Nick's actually.
Oh, nice.
And Fisher's. But yeah, no, I didn't get to go.
Yeah. You going to Birmingham this year?
I am not,
Aw.
but I am hopeful to go to whatever the next one is. So I don't know.
And
if
when
that's
does that
been-
get announced? Will it
I don't
be-
know. Yeah, I was gonna say. I was wondering if you.
during the dinner. At least last year's did.
Last year, I think it was a little bit before
We'll see
that.
you next year in such and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember it was in like July that it was announced. Because we just got a call from Jim in the field, where like Don answered the phone, put him on speaker.
Oh yeah.
And Jim just goes, SVP's in Birmingham. And Don's like, Alabama, really?
Did they announce it before they announced the abstract book?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like I remember that they, or if you were,
Yeah, for sure.
If you said an abstract, if it was accepted or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was kind of unusual that they announced it so early that it was going to be in Birmingham. But
Maybe give people more time to plan.
yeah, that would make sense. Get their passports in order and all that good stuff. Let me move that tool bag. So
Oh no, you're good. I'm gonna go this way.
Wow.
You're totally good.
I don't want it to fall on
Okay.
where you're working. So we should probably wrap up in about 10 or 15 minutes if we want to leave by about 5. I talked to Ethan and he said, yeah, head back around 5 is when you should leave.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
What time is it now?
Just about 4:45.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling time by the sun. You know, it's interesting how accurate we can be.
You're closer. 4:39.
By Price is Right standards, I would get $100.
What time really is it?
Yeah.
Did one of us get abducted by aliens?
Or if it's like Lost and there's like some sort of weird property that bends time.
Yep.
That property is called Wyoming.
Yep. It's the curse of the purple puzzle header, so I end up in a time loop.
Pate B says my Jim Kirkland sounded like a Harrison Ford impression.
You can.
We haven't seen Jim in the chat yet. He must be
Oh,
really busy.
Oh, bummer.
But
I love it when Jim shows up in the chat.
yeah.
Pretty eminent, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Still bummed we didn't get to see the Utah raptor block last summer.
Oh shoot.
That's on my bucket list.
It's really something to see.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. When I went, when Ethan picked me up from the airport last year, we dropped off at the UGS.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
Showed
that's
me
cool.
So that's pretty cool. Got to see the baby potential keratin sheath that's still on some of the young.
On the
So
claw.
cool to see.
Really neat.
On the
Oh, cool.
keratin claw.
The sickle claw. The terrible claw of Utah Raptor.
Another frond.
Sorry.
but it's kinda-
I liked it. I liked it.
We all love dinosaurs here.
We're all dino weenies to some
Yeah.
aspect.
Weenie Hut Junior.
There's
not
dino
very long, but it's
weenies
pretty
and then there's
detailed.
dino weenie juniors.
So take a look at this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see veins on that, but it looks to me like maybe actually some stems.
I want in the
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry.
And Turbo says, have you ever introduced a cooler full of beer to a dig? I mean, like to the quarry itself or to camp?
I have. Well, it wasn't me that introduced it, but I have definitely been at quarries where beer has appeared.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have too.
Yep.
I was like,
I've heard stories of beer being dropped from planes onto a quarry before.
Sandwich, snacks, beer. That's
Or no,
what
maybe it was
on the
ice cream.
table today.
I think
Either
it was, yeah.
Yeah, they both work.
Yeah, I think Dawn told me this story that they met like an airplane pilot in
Uh-huh.
Moab.
real.
Who was like flying overhead and like kept seeing them there at the quarry with the shade tarp. And like they
Beer
ran into him in
drop.
town, and he was like, "What are you guys doing out there?" And like, "Oh, we're digging up a dinosaur."
Enjoy your
He's like, "Do you need anything at the site?" And Don jokingly said, "Like, yeah, ice cream." And so the next morning, he flies low over the camp, and then he just like out of the side of this little Cessna plane comes this bundle of
Like
like
a-
duct tape or something like that, and they open it up, and inside is a big bucket of ice cream.
Oh my goodness.
That would be magical.
An ice cream
Yeah.
airstrike. I like it.
Exactly, yeah.
Fantastic.
I think that might have been at the Crystal Geyser Quarry, actually.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
bringing it home to Falcarius then. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
When I was doing my geology field camp, we were actually mapping glacial tills just north of here.
Oh, cool.
The lakes that are at the back of the mountains.
Uh-huh.
And our instructors told us, you know, you thought you were done, but there's one more outcrop that you need to hit. You need to go down by the shore and you're going to see it. And
Uh-huh.
so we were pissed because we thought we were complete, pardon my language, we thought we were done with the mapping exercise for the day. So we were very upset about this extra work. So we get down to the spot they told us to go check out and add to our maps. And there were 2 cases of PBR in the lake water waiting for us.
Nice, very nice.
Oh.
What an emotional whiplash, too, going from all mad to be like, oh,
Mandy,
wow.
Yeah.
what were the
That's
lakes?
awesome. Yeah.
They're the glacial lakes that extend down behind the Wind River, so Lake Fremont, and there's a couple of others. They actually look like mini versions of the Finger Lakes.
Yeah.
And they come down.
Heels
from the
asks,
mountain
when is
glaciers
Katy Perry
that
coming
were
to the
on
dig
top
site?
of the River.
What?
I was at
I don't know why
Grand
Katy
Teton
Perry
one
keeps
back
coming up in conversation.
Huh.
Penn State.
But yeah.
Had to go up
Um,
to Tigert Lake. If you know that's it's like kind of like right.
I saw her telling off a fan
Yes, I know exactly.
yesterday.
That's
Huh.
beautiful.
It is. So I mapped that whole.
Like while
area.
you were traveling here?
For
airport,
yeah,
or-
on no.
But there was no-
She like interrupted her own concert to tell off a fan who was apparently DMing Orlando the thread. You know,
Yeah, that's, huh. Maybe they're going through something, I don't know.
yeah, where all of a sudden a message from Joe Schmo becomes threatening. Yeah, it's not
No.
good.
99 ice cream balloons. I like that, did I like that?
I like the image too.
Yeah. Matt, have you ever heard the song 99 Dead Baboons?
No.
It's a Dr. Demento like parody song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was Dr.
You might
Demento the
like
one
it.
who did fish heads?
I don't know. I'm not really familiar with
Okay.
his.
I think he
oeuvre.
maybe was. Yeah. I took a fish head out to see a movie. Didn't
Bart
have
Simpson's
to pay
Mortal
to
Enemy.
get it in.
I'm only 10 and I already have 2 mortal enemies.
It was Sideshow Bob and Dr. Demento?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they happened to turn on the radio at the same time that Dr. Demento was on and it threw it out the window. No, your other mortal enemy, Sideshow Bob.
That's a good question for chat to answer.
Yeah?
Is
Crowdsource the, yeah.
yeah, is the song Fish Heads by Dr. Demento?
People are already saying yes, I think.
Okay.
I just wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is important.
There's lyrics there.
Yeah.
Fish heads,
roly-poly fish heads.
Yeah.
Fish heads, eat them up, yum. I took a fish head out to see a movie. Didn't have to pay to get it in. I don't remember the rest.
Oh, Fish Heads is by Billy Mumi and Co., not by Dr. Demento.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
Thank you, Diagonal.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I was at a paleontological gathering at my friends Pat O'Connor and Nancy Stevens' house in Boulder a couple weeks ago, and a couple other paleontology people, Eric Roberts and Eric Gorsak, showed up, and for some reason we started talking about Weird Al. And started singing lyrics to things like Weird Al's Yoda. Have you ever heard this?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Classic.
Saw the little runt sitting there on a log. I asked him his name is in a raspy voice. He said Yoda. Y-O-D-A, Yoda.
I'm guessing that a Weird Al sing-a-thon is a known risk of a gathering of millennial and Gen X
paleontologists.
I suppose so,
yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially when there might be a karaoke machine in camp right now, actually.
What?
Oh, seriously? Wow.
I got one for this year.
Oh, nice. I might have to make a special guest evening appearance at some point. I know Darth Vader's really got you annoyed, but you know if you kill him, then you'll be unemployed. Oh my Yoda.
He just played Weird Al.
For 6.
Weird Al and the Beatles, and it was my hell.
That's a strange selection.
What happened?
When I went out with Eric to Montana,
I
was stuck in the car basically for 6 days listening to Weird Al and the Beatles, and it was my personal hell.
So Eric Morshauser only listens to Weird Al and the Beatles?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's like,
it is an interesting combination.
And it doesn't really overlap. Like, I don't think Weird Al ever
Right.
parodied any Beatles songs, did he?
Like, not even Norwegian Wood.
You know, my brother and I drove to Denver and we did not turn on a radio. It just hit me now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive resolve. Yeah.
And I had downloaded some audiobooks that I thought we might both like, hence Jurassic Park. And but yeah, we did not listen to anything.
I just sit there and wait. I had to
Sometimes
do
I just turn on the satellite image worth of planes.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And I just watch it.
You just stare at it the whole time?
Yeah.
It's a little bit unhinged.
That's how you run on the flight game.
I have to say, I cannot stand when somebody is watching some trash movie or show in the seat in front of me.
Yeah.
And I can't look away.
I had that happen like last month. Somebody was watching like,
oh, nice.
What is this garbage?
Yeah, for me it was the old 90s, but it's called Passenger 57 with Wesley Snipes.
Oh, Wesley.
And I actually have a soft spot for Wesley Snipes. He was a great 80s icon, but
he's amazing in Blade.
But the movie's main antagonist is this guy who he's got to be. I was trying to interpret the plot based on like no sound, but he's got to be some type of European terrorist of some kind.
Okay.
But he has the most epic hair. That's like most like ridiculously. Like he looks like the opposite of intimidating. And so I was just like, please make it stop.
Somebody in the chat just called Wesley Snipes the king of taxes.
I don't know.
He got
is he
jacked
like
for tax
big into
evasion.
tax evasion or something?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well,
Did he serve time for that?
I
want to say he did.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he did too.
Your taxes on time?
Or sometimes not at all.
I don't know, Willie Nelson.
And Willie Nelson's tax evader too?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Isn't Shakira one? She fled to somewhere. I might just be
Colombia?
making up something, but I heard
That's where she's from.
I
Maybe she.
I want to say she's
probably just going to.
She
a
might be
family
from
reunion or
Colombia.
something.
Yeah.
It's like no, she's definitely like fleeing tax evasion.
I bet you somebody in camp can do a good Shakira impression. We should ask around.
I
Or
bet
Shakira karaoke.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Somebody whose hips don't lie.
with the dancing. That's gonna be
My
something
money's
to
on
see.
Fisher, dude.
Yeah, same.
No, I think Spencer probably. Or maybe Luke. I could see Luke do that. Yeah.
This is another one of the things I keep mistaking for.
Nice.
That might be a thing.
Fish
Yeah,
scale.
Charlie's checking.
Shikirioki. Yeah.
Charcoal or?
It's gotta be with all this other plant matter.
Yep.
It has to be.
Yeah, there's a lot. We found some really cool, like just pure black charcoal.
It's shaped like a rhombus, which is what caught my eye. But yeah, I think it's just a.
All right, I think we might be coming up on. Is it a good stopping point for everybody? We're coming up on 5 o'clock if we want to wrap up.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yep. Cool. All right. Before we go, Lauren, can I ask you to show your shirt to the chat? I think they would love it.
Yes.
The Great American Novel.
Yeah.
Billy and the Clonosaurus.
That's really good.
I would set the scene for them, but I'm sure they already.
Yeah.
Is that Futurama?
No, that's The Simpsons.
Heresy. Fired, and he was writing the Great American Novel.
Yeah.
In the Clonosaurus?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
It's about a futuristic amusement park where dinosaurs are brought back to life through sophisticated genetic engineering techniques.
I think I do
call
remember
it
this. Yeah.
Billy and the Clonosaurus. And then Aku goes, "Excuse me, sir."
It was at the New York Times bestseller list for 60
18
weeks.
months. One of the most popular movies of all time, sir. The title, no one could possibly.
I always wanted to make an Andromeda Strain Jurassic Park mashup.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I would call it, but like a disease resurrected from the Mesozoic, that unleashes its.
You laugh
theory.
about that, and it's like happening right now in Siberia.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up this stream as we all clean up our stuff. All right, well, it's that time again, chat. Sorry, but we gotta end the stream now. Don't go away just yet. We're gonna raid into somebody else doing some science here on Twitch, if at all possible. But hope you had fun today. I know I did. Always a joy to be able to share fieldwork with you, even if it's just kind of sitting around shooting the stuff. Yeah. I hope you learned something today. I hope you had a good time. I know I definitely did both. I'll be streaming again tomorrow at the same time. Probably from a different site, but we'll see. I'm guessing I probably will be at a different site. But yeah. Again, it's a joy and a pleasure to be able to share fieldwork with all of you at home. I'm really happy to do it. I'm excited to do this again tomorrow. We're going to try and stream every single day in the month of June, or at least until our fieldwork out here is done at the very end of June. Might be like the 29th that we head out, something like that. But yeah, big shout out to everybody in the chat who has, from those lurkers to the subscribers, from the gifters and cheerers to the moderators. Thank you, everybody, for making this stream what it was today. I appreciate you. Let's take a look at Twitch. Let's see who else is on right now. Go to my following tab. And let's see here. Scrolling. Oh, Rhacodactylus is on with speedrunning and science. Let's raid into Rhacodactylus. Excellent. My channel chat. Raid. Rayco _ Dactylus. Rhacodactylus is a colleague of mine on Twitch. He's a cognitive scientist who studies why people believe weird things, from like science denial to all that stuff. Why do people fall into that kind of thinking? That's what he studies, and these are extraordinarily important topics now more than ever, as many of you probably know. So if you want to talk about that kind of thing, and if you want to get the opinion of an expert who actually studies this, you're in luck. We're going to go right into Rhacodactylus. Again, I'll be streaming tomorrow with any luck. Probably from a different site, but we'll see. Tune in to see where I am, and it's going to be cool. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for another fun stream today. And I'll catch you soon, I hope. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks again. Take care. Let's go see what Rhacodactylus is up to.